Alright, here we go. Had some routing upstream issues here, but now ready to cast the first game between the Ghost in the blue here versus Jägerman. This is the Desert Cup Silver League, and so it's kind of the lower bracket group of Desert Cup, and the top 4 finishers are playing off for a semi-final and a grand final. Sort of a B finals, you could say. And this is the semi-final between Jägerman and the Ghost. They will be playing a best of 5. And the first map, always Arabia, followed by other desert-themed kind of maps. So Jägerman off to a rough start here, didn't finish his initial house completely before going to ship. Maybe he was starving for food, who knows. And meanwhile, we heard the Ghost in the blue here. Both houses up, even using the second initial house here to start the wall off a little bit here towards the stone. So that's some map awareness from the Ghost there. Maybe it's gonna be worthwhile in the long run, even though he hasn't scouted his whole map, which could be considered kind of open here. He would have to wall out his side gold here, but the back is fine. He should be able to secure at least his left-hand side here. Maybe the main here as well. It's a bit broad here, but it should be okay. And then the crossing here, even though it's pretty far out and also boar right next to it, so he will need to keep his scout close in case the villager gets attacked while walling. Jägerman choosing Ethiopians, typical archers in this one, and he's up against Byzantines, so this could be tough for Jägerman, honestly. If he goes going for the archers, the Byzantines will have dirt cheap scouts. They are basically all options existing in the game, so anything could happen here, but what they would have is a strong opening when they get extra resources going into feudal age as well, Ethiopians, so you could use that to your advantage, get a kickstart to your production, or simply use it to get quicker to castle age. If you opt for some full walls, which Jägerman could do here, you could wall off and go fast castle, although that's not too common practice on Arabia. We will be seeing some early action here, I think. Thank you, by the way, if you're watching Lord Recyclops, for your Prime subscription. Much appreciated. It's always nice to receive some support and to feel appreciated, sort of, for the content. Let's see here. So I'm going to go hype indeed, the Ghosts. There you are. I just gotta fast forward just a little bit, not it's many games to get through here, and Dark Age is usually kind of uneventful unless there are scouts fighting, but it's not really happening either. You see both players, or actually Jägerman commencing his wall off here. Haircut hype, yeah. Went to the hairdresser today. Right, so Jägerman here dropping his barracks at 19 pop. Looks like both players are somewhat similar in population here. The Gauss dropping the barracks as well. Walled in his villager just to make sure the scout couldn't harass him while building. So could be an infantry show off here. The Gauss, Jägerman, I mean, he really likes his infantry. He tends to pick Burmese or Celts or other somewhat strong infantry civs to be really annoying with the infantry line, but he may have changed his playing style since last time I saw him playing, so remains to be seen what's going to happen here. Yeah, at the very least, he's walling off his sections that point directly towards the Ghost here. Jägerman has some decent scouting intel on his opponent. Same could be said about the Ghost, who has at least found the resources of Jägerman here, knows there's at least one gold walled out here. Could be playing the map here for the resources, because here's the secondary gold, adding some gather points here as well. We'll find out that it's not walled yet, and here are the militia in queue for the Ghost, or finished queuing. The feudal age is about to get in, and yeah, both players going up at oh, hold on, I'm missing this one side there. Both players going up at 21 pop, but Jägerman lagging a little bit behind. Probably got a little bit house because of his initial house here that mistakenly didn't finish in time. So the Ghost here should be in a decent position to move forward and do some damage. I think, actually, if I were in his shoes, I would have released the militia earlier and just tried to get forward before the walls can finish, even if they aren't men-at-arms yet. because when they are done queuing, and if you're going for the man at arms, if he's going for the rush, he would have been in his enemy space already. But here the militia are going for it, and they're going for the side that is about to be completely walled here by Jägerman. Jägerman immediately dropping the archer range here, so he's actually going for a somewhat unexpected build here, I would say, on his 21 pop-up, because he's going straight for the archers, and he seems to be able to sustain the direction as well. Could be because he's Ethiopians, he knows that he will be getting some extra resources. Scout here attacking the foundation, not the villager. Not a big deal, the villager needs to address the attack anyway, and the archery range will be delayed here, but that's also going to put a stopper to the Gaust's militia going forward here early. He is not taking the men-at-arms as far as I can see, so this is just probably going to be a late rush. My team is struggling a little bit with food for the upgrades. Could be that he's prioritizing villagers instead here. And also dropping the range on his own. He will be ready for any archers coming forward with the Byzantines cheap scouts, and meanwhile noticing that Jägerman is in fact fully walled over here. Could still go for delaying the archer production a bit here, so he's chasing the archer here, bait his militia since he won't be able to get in anyway. Probably makes sense, the archer doesn't have fletching, so he can easily pick this up just as long as it gets close. Could also be using the scout as well, even though the scout is kind of weak, he could have used that to block the archer's pathing just to make life even more difficult for the Ethiopians player here. But Jägerman indeed going for the straight archers build here. He's procuring 2 archers, going 1 range, no blacksmith yet. What's his eco setup like, I believe? Yeah, he's floating quite a bit of resources here. Gets the extra 150 food and gold, getting up with the Ethiopians. And yeah, looks like he's committing a bit to feudal age play here. He's taking a very early wheelbarrow. I've heard that wheelbarrow mainly helps farm efficiency. So wheelbarrow that could wait until you have like at least 12 farms or all such, but I mean that's debatable. But that's the main reason for getting wheelbarrow, to have your farms being a bit more efficient. Jägerman now committing to 2 ranges here. How will these Gauss respond to that? I don't think he could see the second range going up behind here. It's out of reach for him, but brings the brush home again. Not really much to do with them. Could potentially use them to harass a bit on the walls here and just force some quick walls from Jägerman, but might as well just bring them home and have them ready to defend at home as well. Unfortunately loses his initial scout here, the Ghost, and chases Jägerman's scout with his militia, but obviously the scout is running away from them. 2 on gold for the Ghost, could be going for the quicker castle age approach here, dropping quite a few farms. It's 10 farms, 1 range, no blacksmith as of yet, queuing quite a few skirms. That's also going to delay his castle age, but you want to be ready for the Ethiopian machine gun archers, of course. Could, however, also say that since the Ghost only sees 1 range in the front area, if the opponent goes for 1 range, that could suggest that he's also going for a faster castle age approach, which is not the case here. The Jägerman is committing to the feudal age play, he's going for the archer numbers, mixed in even a few skirms here. Hey, new haircut, indeed. Thank you, sir. Militia are back, harassing the walls here. Jägerman will have to react to this very quite soon, otherwise the Gauss might actually break through here, but he could also use, of course, his archers and skirms here just to deal with this easily and then move forward. So it looks like Jägerman is not really stressing it here. He's attacking a bear on his mile over. Skirm's now going in for the Ghost, so he will have his initial militia here with some Byzantine trash to support. Not bad at all. If he can indeed get in here, which he will. Just move in now. There we go. Right about now, the man-at-arms upgrade would actually have made sense again, because then they would be doing even more damage. But he takes his opponent off gold, the only gold of the Jägerman inside of his base. That's huge for continuous archer production. Although Jägerman at the moment queuing skirms, he's definitely not struggling for gold at the moment. Meanwhile, Jägerman is counterattacking in his opponent's base, so both players have to deal with aggression in their bases, but all of the Ghost's army is forward here. He's partly succeeding in keeping Jägerman off gold, but Jägerman floating more resources already. If he drops a market, he could buy his way to Castle Age already, actually. And meanwhile his archers are forward, the Gauss forcing a defensive tower here. I think that makes sense, although the villagers will be harmed in the process. Their one goes down. So lots of things to focus on at the same time here now. There are 13 archers forward. Should be tough for Jägerman to break through anywhere else. Could possibly reach a villager or two on this wood line. But his main goal probably just to be annoying, buy some time, and then reinforce his push later on. 3 archers against 3 skirms, this should definitely be Jägerman's fight to lose. So while not keeping his army together, he will take losses here, and shows in the KD though that Jägerman has cleaned up the forward of his opponent here. Now is pretty heavily on gold, wood, everything. Also committing to the farms, so I don't think he'll be stressing the next stage here, but as said, if you had a market you could use a bit of this gold and then just get to the next stage and meanwhile sustain production from 2 archery ranges here. So it looks like although the Gauss is with the score lead and, well, with the score lead here, Jägerman has the population lead. He has about the same scouting intel. Actually, the Gauss with more scouting intel overall, he has some grasp of the neutral resources as well. Or is he only seeing the main resources? Neutral resources a bit far out here with the golds and stones. Let's see if the Ghost still doesn't know about the second range here, but he for sure expects his Ethiopian opponent to commit to it, and Castle Age will be in for the Ghost well ahead of Jägerman here, while Jägerman almost traps his own villager woman here. I like that the Ghost is camping the hill here. This is a hill that the Jägerman most likely will pass through on his way over. He could also kind of keep a lookout for the gold here and just make sure. Yeah, now he's patrolling. Now he's moving away. Okay, could have just stayed on the hill, stacked up on some army here, and maybe stayed on patrol just to get an alert if any units are passing through. But looking at the military count, there is only 6 military for the Ghost. He wants to get to those. Well, he wants to get the eco running, wants a stable up, maybe to deal with. I mean, if you get knights with the +2 upgrade, you could deal with archers as well. With Ethiopian archers, they fire faster. So not too easy to handle unless you have a critical amount of knights here. You would need to get close to the same amount as crossbows just to make sure you could win the fight. But here comes Castle Age for the Ghost. With a pretty healthy eco, I would say you could opt for more TCs right away. That would be a nice defense against potential archer fire as well. And he wants to drop the TC right here, I'm sure, because he just deleted the walls. So nice TC on the woodline there. And the stones, I can approve of this one. But desperately need some more army numbers now, because the military count is 28 to 6, and this could pay off a lot for Jägerman here, now dropping his siege workshop, but on the bit of the defensive side here, maybe suspecting some army from the Ghost here. Camping the hill with the skirms, but against 23 archers and skirms, even feudal age upgrade, he will struggle here. So we see now the Ghost down to 2 military. This is mainly archers here for Jägerman. He's going straight for the crossbow, Balkan arrow, thumbring. We'll have machine gun archer once these upgrades are complete, and crossbow, as you can see, already is in here. A little bit weakened. I think the Ghost really needs some defensive siege now, but committing to 3 towns that are not the worst idea either. I mean, you could be Ariston inside TCs and defend against archer fire, but Jägerman is about to break in here. He won't really be able to do much here, right next to the ranges. Now it may have been too late, but for the Ghost, when seeing a massive army like this, if you see it in time, you could consider not going for the third TC, and because this TC is essentially the wood's worth of siege workshop and half a mangonel, right? So of course it's a defensive measure, you secure your main gold here, so that's nice, but then again, if you had the defensive mangonel out by now, it would be just so much easier to deal with the archers forward of your opponent. But elite skirms doing nicely as well. They are cheap for Byzantines after all. We see continuous production from 2 ranges here for the Ghost, but here's a forward mangonel from Jägerman. I think the Ghost sees it in time, he dodges. But still fully is behind in military count here, so leaves him in a bit of a pickle here. Knights coming out of the field as well. So Knights and Skirms should be able to deal with this combo nicely. Jägerman not opting for Elite Skirm himself. See the Mangonel getting a hit in here, but here comes Knight. Should be able to deal with this Mangonel nicely here. Looking at Jägerman's resources, he could go in already, incredibly enough. And but he's on 1 TC and he's not consistently producing from his army buildings here. That means that of course he has more resources in the bank. So I don't think his intention is going fast Imper, I just think he's simply not having the production buildings using them to spend it. So I've seen Jägerman in many games stacking up on a lot of resources like this because he's just not using them, and that after all it could give him the upper hand in the late game because he will be able to produce just so much more. But here comes ballistics and double range queued up with crossbows again for Jägerman, so he will be getting more army out on the field. He's down to the same military count as his enemy now, and with Knights on the field and Skirms, it gets tougher for Jägerman to handle it. His siege will be, I wouldn't say rendered useless, but in Knight Siege in this combination makes it a lot easier for the Gauss to handle whatever Jägerman sends forward at this point. But Eco, when the 3 TC boom kicks in, as it's about to do for the Gauss, he will for sure be with the stronger Eco set up for the late game. He is consistently producing out of 3 TCs now, so his villager lead is only going to increase since Jägerman is for the moment on 2 TCs. Gets some nice Mangonel hits in here, but the Gauss is able to deal with 1 Mangonel there. Unfortunately for him, doesn't make it in time to save these Skirms, but then again, Byzantine Skirms, dirt cheap. Shouldn't be a problem for the Gauss to replenish here. He's kind of running low on wood here. When you're behind the numbers like that. Here comes the defensive castle. Nice defensive measure against siege and archers from the Gauss here. Also securing a woodline. His main goal is secure here anyway, so he has access to all resources by now. Needs to rush this castle up and will be losing some villagers along the process, but still I believe it's worth it because it's an effective stopper to the siege push here. Nice villager micro as well, dodging some of the shots here and forcing the castle up. Look at this guy building the wrong way for some reason. I was going to say forcing the castle up, but it stops at 98%. Incredible work from Jägerman there to actually be able to stop this castle from going up, and also killing most, if not all, of the Gauss building villagers here. So strong push for Jägerman now. It's 31 to 1 military. The Gauss castle doesn't go up. It shouldn't be a problem for you to force it up. Maybe just garrison a few villagers, but here it goes up. Castle will deal with the siege now. Doubt castle, indeed. I usually don't use that term, I would just say unfinished castle or whatever, not strictly follow the memes around in the scene. University up for the Gauss now is opting for the Skirms. Would be maybe considering getting ballistics for the Skirms then, I guess. This Mangonel here hitting TC from underneath the castle, so a sneaky play of the Jägerman to keep it under here, but on the other hand, the Knight can just run in. If the Mangonel moves, it dies to Castle Fire. If it stays, it dies to the Knight. So that Mangonel was completely doomed. I like how Jägerman is camping this hill now, though. This is an important hill between the two players. A lot of the action would or should be going down here. We have barracks coming up for Jägerman. He does get a free pikeman after all, so he can deal with the Knights of the Gauss to some extent, but with Skirms behind, the Skirms also counter the pikes, so a bit of a micro challenge. Whoever has the better unit control should get the upper hand, and also pikes, of course, a lot cheaper than Knights, so cost efficient wise it's better for Jägerman in this sense. Jägerman adding a monastery as well. Could be a defensive measure against the Knights, I guess. I don't see any use for a monastery now other than going for the verdicts and converting Knights or other units here. But these players seem pretty evenly matched. The scores are pretty even. Jägerman with the score lead. I believe that is mainly the fact that the Gauss is going after Imp and that Jägerman has the larger army. Oi. I'll actually use the pikes as a meat shield here for the crossbows. I like that movement from Jägerman there. Doesn't commit to any more elite skirms of his own. He's sticking to the archers as he should with the Ethiopians. Now with some significant siege forward as well. The Mangonels here should be able to deal with the buildings here, break through, and then deal with the tower where the Ghost has garrisoned his villagers. But here's another defensive castle. Byzantines, defensive Siev castles, they have more HP. I don't think Jägerman has a castle yet, so we couldn't compare, but 6,240 HP, that's no joke. The Ghost still low on military numbers, but castles do the trick here, protect his core resources, deny any passage for archers and siege in this direction. Also in this direction there's like only play for Jägerman here with the siege is to go through in the middle here, in between the two castles. He can't know about this one obviously because he doesn't have the... Okay, maybe he sees it, maybe not, but this is the correct break-in point to try and do some damage with whatever he has, because it should be somewhat out of range of both castles. The Gauss does have fletching though, so he has 8+2 range on the castles. So once Jägerman starts moving further in, the castles would still be troublesome for him. So Jägerman with one, Mangonel here chasing the skirmishers, but the Gauss calls the GG. Maybe the Imperial investment impairs his production a bit too much, and he's under pressure. Jägerman has found a perfect break-in point here between the two castles. And yeah, the Ghost feels it's too much to lose, even though he has a villager lead, he's floating a decent amount of resources, could even drop a third castle. But Jägerman obviously also floating lots of resources as well. Hasn't kicked in, but he could. But the GG is called. Let's have a quick look at the stats and then move on to the next game. My guess is that the Ghost may have been frustrated at this point, being forced on the defensive the whole way and not really seeing any way back, but that's just my theory. KD also impressive here for Jägerman against one of the more direct counter-civs. We have to mention the villager counts as well, because the Ghost on 3 TCs, right? Yeah. And Jägerman still only on to dropping his third though, so he would catch up a bit, but the Ghost 20 villager lead, that is significant for production in the long run. So if this had gone on to the late game, I think the Ghost would have the upper hand still, because he would have the means to replenish units and buildings, get more production out. Jägerman in the end might not. I think Jägerman would have needed Imperial Age of his own. So I want to add the next setup. Yeah, I think you could trust your... I mean, I think you've seen Jägerman play before as well, right? The Ghost. So he would also commit to aggression, lots of units, and with that kind of unit production that he had, that is an indication that he's going for likely 1 or maybe 2 TC push, because he's producing so much army. He was out producing you a lot, and you were with better eco setup for the long run. You even was able to afford were able to afford a third castle at that point, so I don't think it was over. But anyway, here we are with game 2 between these two players. It's on Desert Void. So you see all of the resources for the players are collected in a circle here between your wood lines, and almost nothing to fight for on the map. Nowhere to escape, your only resources are near your starting spawning point. So some neutral stones here, it's a total of 2,800 stones, so nothing too significant there. Looking at the maps, they goes with a fantastic back gold here, just a short wall over here, and he has the main gold secured. Don't think he needs to stress securing his side goals, but if he wants to, he just extends the walls a little bit somehow, and he should be very fine here. Jägerman also with a nice back gold here. He has a bit broader section to wall in his backside, but nothing too significant. I think both players, if they wall, will opt for walling towards the woodlines and then in the back, and they're fine. This could be considered a fast castle map because it's so easy to wall off, and then you just go for the obvious approach, which would be Archer line, which is applicable to both Civs here, Japanese and Saracens. The Ghost with the Saracens against buildings bonus working in his favor. He could also easily take out palisades and even stone walls with his Archer line units, because they have a bonus against buildings. Let's just double check the bonus here. T bonus, foot archers +1 attack for versus buildings. Archers also +1 attack versus buildings per age starting in the feudal age. So I'm not sure who will be the aggressor. With Saracens, the Ghost could actually go for the feudal age action here, because if his opponent is walled, he can still tear down the walls, palisade walls easily with his archers, and he could get in and do some damage. For the Japanese players, it's a bit worse. We have seen Drushes or Man-at-Arms on this map, but considering how easy it's to wall and to quick wall, it's not the most common play here. So we could probably see both players go for more fast castle here. Jägerman with 4 villagers on this new elephant here, but will of course task the hunters from the old elephant to eat the new one, so he doesn't lose too much food in this effort. The Ghost is forward. I think you may have seen some sheep here, but he leaves them there for Jägerman to capture back. So it's 19 to 18 villagers, he says. The Ghost now taking Loom. That could be useful also for the villager walling, unless he needs to go up at 22 pop here, which he could also do with his current food and food income. So Jägerman floating very much wood at this point. That's the Japanese working for him, the lumber camps and mills and production buildings, mining camps. They are at half price, so dropping a lumber camp and a mill, that's only going to cost you 100 wood total as Japanese, whereas all other civs, except maybe Malians, have to pay 100 wood. The Ghost taking some hits on the scouts there, but he can gain some valuable intel still. Both players actually going for feudal age here. No players... the Gauss dropping the barracks actually, whereas Jägerman, he hasn't dropped his own yet. He is only 30% up, so whatever his play is, he doesn't need to stress that barracks, but he's certainly floating the wood for it. So here comes the barracks foundation for Jägerman as well. Both players still pretty open, especially in the back. So infantry opening not out of the question here. But judging from the uptimes, and Jägerman up at 21 pop here, so he could be going for the scouts here actually, but I don't think he will with this current wood setup. But the population and uptime actually suggests it still. He's floating a decent amount of food as well. The Ghost meanwhile walling off with a gate here, getting the backsides as well. Doesn't want any action here. He doesn't have any uptime to suggest his opponent is going scouts, but nevertheless he's walling off everything in time to fend off any early action here. No army production for Jägerman thus far. He is barracks is staying there idle, but he's getting the eco upgrades. Hasn't gone to gold yet either. He's actually walling out his main gold here. That's I have to say, peculiar. He's walling out all 3 golds, Jägerman. Very puzzled as to this decision here. Oh, there we go, he's opening it. So, can't say I understand the play here. Maybe a bit of, no, not lacking scouting either. It's just to wall off this section here, and this gold is safe, no problem. He's probably going to do that as we speak. So the ghost on his side is fully walled, and probably let the villager out here or the scout or something to get some scouting until maybe place some form of overbuilding. Currently only the barracks for the Gausses, but no, there's the archer range. Of course you put down the archer range. Going for a double archer range play with Saracens. No market yet. So, but Saracens market, powerful tool as well. You could sell resources or buy resources for less gold than most other civs. So even a double range, even triple range could be sustained in feudal age with a bit of market abuse and 1 TC from Saracens. Not the most common practice. Common practice for feudal archer aggression is 2 ranges, of course. We have 2 ranges here and the Ghost with the woodman. At least the wood setup to support it. I'm not convinced 5 on gold is enough for constant archer production out of both ranges, but maybe, yeah, we'll be seeing more villagers added to gold soon enough for the archers to come out. So it looks like Yerman wants to play this defensively. He is has committed heavy to gold now, so it could suggest an archer's play for him as well. Places the blacksmith here is kind of a wall, but this woodland here, not ideal, very subject to tower or archer fire, so this one will need to be moved somewhere else if he is under attack. So if the Ghost has scouted this opening in the back here, that's an easy target for the Ghost right here. So if you get one walled out here instead, this woodland would be perfectly fine. So it's just these small things you don't necessarily think of mid-game for yourself. Maybe Jägerman didn't even scout this area. He did actually, so he knows that this would have been an option, but maybe he wanted to rush the walls just to make sure no infantry opening or early archers come in his direction and makes life difficult for him. Quite a significant amount of farms for Jägerman here. He should likely have the eco setup for a quicker castle age, but then again, when or if the Saracens player puts the market up, which he has here, he could use that to adjust his eco as well. Somehow Jägerman's scout has gotten in there, could be through the gate here while it was finishing. But one scout just being annoying here for the Ghost. He has many potential breaking points, maybe towards the bears here, for example, avoid TC fire as much as possible, or simply break in here with archers and deny gold completely from Jägerman here. So as far as it comes to map awareness, the Ghost knows the gold is here, he knows there's a gold here, which means the main gold has to be inside here somewhere, right? So if you are the Ghost, you go for the break-in here with your archers, and hopefully the enemy won't be able to force a defensive tower in time, and then you could keep your enemy completely off gold, negating any archers and maybe even the age up for your opponent. So that's a way to play the map, to look at the resources and have some intel on where they could go to. Obviously that's easier on a map like in the Void. You know all of the core resources are going to be within your starting spawn. So it's definitely a fantastic opportunity for the Gauss here just to go straight forward and deny this gold sooner rather than later. Deals with Jägerman's scout now with this archer, so he reveals kind of his archer numbers here. Also not sustaining archer's production for the 2 ranges here, but going for the cast age as well. Likely with a little bit of help from the market here. So stable goes up as well. Nice addition. That means if Jägerman goes for the skirms approach, the Gauss could add either scouts or the more expensive option, knights, to deal with the skirms from his opponent. 7 archers on the way for the Gauss now. No fletching as of yet. Blacksmith is going up right now. Their uptimes are pretty similar, but I would say Jägerman is with the healthier eco here, considering he has not relied on market abuse. But That's not to suggest the Ghost can expand his eco later on, reaching Castle Age. He is should easily be able to afford another DC if he goes for that. But looks for the break-in point here, goes for the raid, but there are already skirms in place here. The Ghost responding by taking scale barding armor and wants to send some cavalry units in as well. But there are 9 archers on the field for the Ghost now, 10 with the one coming in from here. And he will be taking into crossbows soon enough. He may need to cancel something or adjust the eco of the market here to get the crossbow upgrade, but that should certainly be a priority here. I'm a bit puzzled as to why the Ghost delays his forward here, but that's only based on my vision of the map here, that it earlier on with the Saracens against buildings bonus would have been so easy just to break the wall, get in, stop the gold income from happening. So, looks like Archer's production has ceased for the Ghost here. Maybe relying a little bit too much on the market this time around. He's queuing knights, queuing this and that, but there are all the upgrades. He's back on double range production now. But ideally, you would commit to maybe 1 unit and then just sustain production from your production buildings and make the best of it. So the forward is happening. Crossbows is ticking in. There are knights in the stable as well. Just could send them just straight forward to be ready to deal with the buildings and the defensive skirms here. But it's the Ghost being the aggressor now. Their scores are somewhat similar here. Jägerman still going for the boom approach, dropping another TC. Floating quite a bit of food and gold now. I wonder how he will solve that. He would need more wood overall to commit to skirms. Only has 1 range, so he will be significantly behind in armor production here. The Ghost chooses not to go in for the gold this time either. He sees the skirms, obviously. Doesn't want to engage until he has the knights forward, but sends. Is he only sending 1 knight forward here? I think he has more in the stables, right? Yeah, 3 stables. 3 knights left in stables at home, but not sending all the army forward at this point. So as opposed to the last game where the Ghost was forced on the defensive the whole way around, this time around it's Jägerman being forced on the defensive side. Archers with bucket arrow, they have 5+2 range, means they can outrange the TC, so the Ghost crossbowman can even take out the TC here, but lots of elite skirms on the field for Jägerman here now. He knows what's coming, he knows there are more crossbows to be seen here, even ballistics coming in for the Ghost now, still committing to the 1 TC play at home, but not making full use of his army, I would say. When you have the option to take out buildings this easily as a mass of 20 archers now, just go straight for the production buildings and make it difficult for your opponent to get to siege or skirms or whatever. The knights and camels could for sure help out as well, they have some melee attack, but obviously the skirms need to be dealt with. Mounted units like this could also be used as very expensive meat shields for the crossbows here, so the crossbows could take out the buildings while the mounted units would tank fire from the skirms unless your opponent is very much on the alert and focusing on the right units by micromanagement. But we see the Ghost with the massive military lead here. Military lead obviously for Jägerman being on multiple TCs here. I'm still seeing Jägerman not being punished from taking his main gold here, which could have easily been denied earlier on. And I think for siege, nice option here. But if you want to add 2 production buildings like this, you want to make sure that you could also produce from both to speed up your production. Knights on the field now would easily deal with skirms and Mangonel here. The Ghost pulling back for the moment, maybe wants to wait for some reinforcements here. Mangonel almost get a hit on the Knights and Camels here, but Jägerman defending nicely. He is losing his Mangonels though, but pulling the skirmishers towards the TC, so the Knights are forced to move around and try and dodge arrows here. I'm very puzzled as to why the Gauss is bringing his whole army home though, because there isn't really any significant forward to consider here. I see some corpses here, I'm not quite sure what that was. I have to admit I was looking at the wrong place here. But the Ghost using his knights to gather some scouting intel here. He's behind the villager, but sustaining villager production, getting the +2 for the knights as well, so that will help for sure. Crossbows coming forward again. Some men at arms, okay, thanks. So that would explain why he sent the archers back, I see. So the Ghost doesn't want any more men at arms in his base, so he's taking out the barracks first here. Meanwhile, sustaining constant armor production here, double range crossbow production, targeting the production buildings now. I think even some rams would make sense in the Ghost's play here now, because they could soak fire from Jägermann's defensive skirms, but gets a 1-for-1 with the Mangonel there, so nice to have the Mangonel in the mix as well. The crossbows should not be targeting houses though, just go straight for the production. Unless this should cause Jägermann to get housed, but that's usually not the case when you take out one or a few houses. So more barracks being added from Jägermann here. Probably wants to get pikes out to deal with the knights. Makes sense, but here the archer range was down and Jägermann is left with the siege workshop and some barracks for army production here. No more skirms for Jägermann at this moment. Again, he's floating a lot of resources here. And with this mass of archers here, the Ghost could even consider charging against the elite skirms here, where quite a few of them are also weakened, but there's still a Mangonel in the mix. Stone walls being attempted by Jägermann here. He really wants to keep his potential, his defensive position here, but the Ghost, even with his 1 TC play, is catching up on villagers now. And the reason the Ghost is lower on eco overall is simply because he is spending a lot more on units. Now taking light cav as well, it's a cheaper option for dealing with Mangonels. Don't need to invest gold in knights, and also you could use them for raids if you are able to get in. So Jägermann actually open on this side. He's trying some stone walls now, but the archers group will for sure deny that. These archers, they have the range to take out the TC, and the Ghost is using this opportunity just to fire at the TC, not risking arrow fire back at himself. And Jägermann with some units garrison inside. Maybe wants to consider pulling them away sooner rather than later, but he also wants to keep his TC alive, so he's repairing here. The Ghost only staying on stand ground for now, so doesn't respond to fire, but here come the skirms and Mangonel's back, and the Ghost needs to back off yet again. Now rams and knights in the mix for the Ghost. Nice Mangonel shot for Jägermann there, and taking out a small group of crossbows here, but still it's the Ghost with a massive military leader, 37 to 20. I don't think he will let go of that one this game. He seems in a very nice position now. The stone walls putting a limited stopper to the Ghost's forward though. It doesn't deny the crossbows from firing across the walls and still pick villagers though, and the ram is here to help take out these newly found stone walls. Massive group of archers firing away at the wall helps as well. And look at this one just crumbling away. The HP is going down dangerously quickly here. Mangonel's at the ready, firing at the ram. Wise choice of Jägermann there to use Mangonel for defense against rams as well. Still, there are some potential entry points for the Ghost here in this area, only house walls for now. And this stone wall also not completed here. Here come the knights, but the villager won't be able to stop the stone walls in time. Jägermann, however, completely idled in the production now. If he had the buildings to go up, he could go imp now with his current resources, but then again he would be able to afford any significant army. Doesn't look too bright for Jägermann in this game. He is losing valuable units here, using quite a few Mangonels. There are pikes in the field, but the crossbow should be able to deal with that nicely, while the Ghost now also is adding monks from home. Maybe he wants to go for the relics now, just to make sure he has the gold income. Or even, maybe you could even use monks at defense against sieges. Let me have a quick look at yep, Saracen Tech 3, full monk Tech 3 for Saracens, so you could even take into Redemption monks and use that to convert Jägerman Siege. Although you could, I mean, the relos are in the 1200, 1300 range by now. I'd say high 1200s for both, but you could also get the current elo by writing exclamation mark rank and the nickname, and it should show up in chat here. But I would say both are, last time I checked, both were high 1200s, peaking almost on, or the Gauss at least, he's been up to 1340 at his peak, I think. But I agree on they're playing well. The unit compositions work. I mean, the defense has been on point for both players in both games, and also the aggressor goes for the obvious strong unit combo. Okay, so it was Golden Swamp that got the Gauss to to 1340. Oh well. If it works, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, or how we should put this. Imperial Edge coming in for the Gauss here. This is looking tough for Jägerman to get back from. Still, of course, floating resources, but is heavily housed and not really any reason to expand other than if you want to get to the castle for some kind of castle unique unit play, you could that, but Japanese Samurai wouldn't do much against the crossbow lineup of the Gauss here. Of course, a defensive castle could have been forced up if it went for the stones, but at this point Jägerman could even buy a defensive castle here. He is also mining stone actually, so he must have been thinking about the option of a defensive castle. Could be that Jägerman is not too familiar with this map as well. It has been one of the most frequently picked maps for Desert Cup. Look at this huge mass of skirms here, so nice awareness of a nice defensive measure of Jägerman to go for the back ranges here and hide them away from the Gauss. And the Gauss loses heavily to this mass of units here from Jägerman, because Pike's acting as a meat shield again. This is he's done this a couple of times now, and Lightcap will not be able to reach the Mangonels here because there are Pikes there to intercept them on the way. Could actually be that the Ghost needs to opt for Knights again to just to deal with those Mangonels here in the middle of everything. But he dodges the shots more or less. He loses, of course, a bit of an army here, but then again, if he can pull back and upgrade these boys to Arbalest, should still be a great position from the Ghost. So I'm questioning the decision of 2 forward siege workshops here from the Ghost, simply because it's mainly been one of them producing at the time from what I've seen. So that's a key moment. 1 siege workshop is 200 wood, that's 1 Mangonel already. So I'm pretty bad at it myself, always add too many production buildings, which could of course be spent for farms instead, this wood, or other important units like more archer mass. Still only 2 ranges for the Ghost, opting for a second stable here. While Jägerman is trying a bit of push here with Siege and Skirms, that this could work out. Elite Skirms against this mass Arbalest could still do some work here. And the Ghost, still, as mentioned, only with the 2 ranges, will have a struggle replacing the Arbalest, even with his current wood situation. He could easily use the market to sell gold to afford the production, but he still needs more than 2 ranges to produce them from. But the Knights added to the mix now. Lightcav and Knights should easily be dealing with the skirms. A fantastic hit for Jägerman again. Is using his Magnum Micro, is on point. Look at these hits here. That's 8 arms down in no point here. The Ghost with the significant villager lead though, being yet still on only 1 TC against Jägerman's 2. But Jägerman, of course, opting for this massive amount of skirmishers means that he has been committing a lot of food to skirms and less to villager production. No villagers being produced at all for Jägerman at this point, but this army count pretty impressive here. It's 57 mostly skirms, a little bit of siege. Now adding forward siege as well, so we could see Jaegerman pushing back here, but meanwhile, we see the Gauss adding more stables. Guess it makes sense since with so many skirms on the field, you can't really play arbalists. But heavy camel, I'm not too convinced about because I haven't seen any kind of mounted units on the field for Jaegerman. And while heavy cannons are cheaper to produce, that's probably the idea for the Gauss to get the most value with gold and food here. They will still be more of a subject to skirm, but they will die easier to skirm masses than knights would. Monks are on the field. I'm guessing there is redemption for the Ghost, since he's opting for some monks here now, but I didn't catch if he's researched it or not. Forward barracks for Jaegerman now, but there's lots of production buildings for the Ghost as well, not producing all of them at the moment, only one not producing. So with this mass of light cav, assuming they have their upgrades, which they have, should be able to deal with both siege and skirms here. And no pikes, not a significant number of pikes on the field for Jaegerman at this moment, mainly skirms. So the Gauss decision here makes sense, pushing back nicely here against skirms. Would need something to deal with the pikes though, the few pikes that are. And here are some more archer ranges to the side. So if he goes for skirms of his own, he could deal with pikes, for example. Jaegerman now getting upgrades, getting the attack upgrade for his pikeman. The second upgrade, I think upgrade this. There's a castle going up here as well, or trying to go up here, but there are only 2 builders building it, so if the Ghost is paying attention here, he should be able to stop this from going up, at least for the moment. I have to commend Jaegerman's defense here, though. He was able to push back a significant number of crossbowmen here. And he hasn't really been using gold for much else than siege. He's not mining gold at all at the moment, but looking at his resources in the bank, he doesn't really need them either. He's desperately in need of houses, though. On the other hand, the Gauss doesn't need to worry just yet. He is still walled. This Palisade wall here could be broken through, but then there are production buildings behind there. This is the only entry point for Jaegerman's army, so bringing in the siege before taking out these buildings is going to be an issue for him. And meanwhile, there are more ranges on the side here with the Ghost adding skirmishers, elite skirmishers of his own. Looks like he also has Bracer, I guess, since he has the +3. Or some other Imperial upgrade. So he will actually both outrange and out-attack Jaegerman's skirms. But this castle went up a bit sloppy of the Gauss there, not to notice there were only 2 forward builders building a castle here. But then again, there's a lot of stuff going on. My impression now is defensive siege will be a great play by the Gauss here, and he has a siege workshop on the side now, but then again, Jaegerman could pull back towards the castle and deal with the skirms. So while Jaegerman still hasn't hit the Gauss base, it's the Gauss being kind of punished for committing to the 1 TC play here. But I would also say that it all comes back to this main goal that used to be here for Jaegerman, because even in the feudal age it would have been so easy for the Gauss to deny what would be Jaegerman's only gold income. And then imagine you deny the main gold, then you just position a few archers on this gold and on that gold, and once Jaegerman reaches castle age, he will be dependent on the market himself to get units out, gold units out. Also have to say, when I'm talking about the main gold here, this is something that the Ghost hadn't scouted, so he couldn't technically see it. But when you see 2 golds outside on this map, which you should be familiar with after a couple of Desert Cup matches, you would know that the last main gold is inside. There was a fog of war in this area, so it would still have been a nice entry point for the Ghost here. Fantastic KD for Jaegerman here though. Mangonels taking out archer masses. Skirms dealing with the Arbalests, actually negating the Ghoust's possibility to go for Arbalests in the end, and early 2TC's Friggaman allowing him to actually commit to Skirm's defense. He seemed very heavily on food and wood from all the way from early on, so he was prepared to go for Skirms against Saracens here. The Ghost, the only player with Imperial late show, but on a map without stone, you can't really exploit the range siege advantage that Traps would give you. But could maybe be that I have to check, but if Saracens get Bombard Cannon, do they? They do get Bombard Cannon, so you could research chemistry and use Bombard Cannons as a ranged siege as well, but at that point, the Gauss was already being pushed back. So he wasn't on being the offender anymore. Alright, sorry about that. Just going to bring up game 3 now. It will be on the Ghost's second home map, which is Sahara. Here we go. So again, we have the Ghost versus Jägermann here. We have the game 3 between these two players. It's a best of 5 set in the semifinals of Desert Cup Silver League. And the map is the Ghost's second home map after being down 2-0. And he's picked Sahara for his map here. And it's pick being Magyars. So Magyars immediately get the +1 attack for infantry and or melee units in general. So they have a very strong men-at-arms into archers play, for example, or just simply the scouts. So this map has a huge desert area in the middle, not really much resources to fight for, but there's still some hills where you can dictate which fights you take, and some of your resources may also spawn away. This is a disastrous gold spawn for the Ghost here. His 2 secondary golds being all the way up on the hill here. So he will be desperate to secure this hill before the game goes too late, so he can get the castle up here and secure his own secondary golds. His main gold even being forward as well, so not a great map for the Ghost here. Could partly say the same about Jägerman here. His main gold is forward, but could potentially be walled out a bit if you do kind of like an arch here for the walling. Then you could use this gold also as a part of your wall. The walling wise, Jägerman looks like he has the option to full wall here and play it a bit on the defensive, whereas the Ghost he will be forced to be the aggressor. This area is pretty huge for a full wall, and also his resources are completely forward. Yeah, we get 3 golds, you see, but they're not great for Jägerman either. You see secondary gold here and there, so new haircut indeed. Questionable boar lure for Jägerman here, but I think he brings it just under TC. Perfect placement in the end. Thank you, Maisel. Happy to hear that. So actually, you see the Ghost opting for kind of walling here, at least walling towards his TC. I guess it's a correct play to defend against any potential militia, rush, or men-at-arms forward from the Britons player, which you could surely see from the Britons. Jägerman a bit unlucky with his scouting here, just missing his 2 last sheep here. So laming, not really an option in this tournament except for sheep or deer laming, you could do that, or laming, not an option. So the Ghost at least has found all of his food, I believe. I hope he's found this boar as well. Now I'm pointing at my screen, not that that makes any much sense because I am the only one who can see it. But here's the boar, also pretty far forward for the Ghost, but he should be able to do it without loom still. The hunt is out of bounds, I would say. It's way outside the space, so unless he takes the risk of milling on top of the hill here, I think he'll commit to his home place. Looks like Jägerman has had some bad idle time here. He's at 14 villagers now. So he's been idle quite a bit and will now potentially lose a villager to the Ghost scout as well. But the villager is loomed, so the Ghost doesn't take the fight. He opts for some more scouting instead. Hopefully knows that the TC is around here, but finds the woodline. Finds some place. Uh-oh, that scout was in danger there. Could have been trapped actually by a bit of simple palisade there for Jägerman. But most importantly, the Ghost now knows the location of his enemy. I believe Jägerman hasn't commenced scouting forward yet because he was struggling with his last few sheep to find those. But we see him starting his walling here. Could mean that any infantry opening from the Ghost would be a bit of a struggle to get through. But then again, you could still be harassing walls and forcing your way through to force some gathering time of your opponent's villagers. So you also going for the farthest side of walls first. Bit surprising to see him walling this section first, as his opponent is on his right hand side. Here comes the barracks as well. I think Jägerman, he actually passes right through here. So he gets pretty unlucky here. Finds a woodland but doesn't see any settlement whatsoever. So he keeps scouting, thinks his opponent might be up here instead. So here's the barracks going up for the Ghost. Let's have a look at his eco setup. 4 on wood, sending for more to wood. Could still be both scouts or men-at-arms honestly, but the barracks is up. And no army production just yet. Yeah, here we see how what a pain walling placement can be here. Aha, you got housed and did loom while waiting, so that's why you were lagging behind with your villagers. I see. So it's the scouts opening for the Ghost here. I like that he keeps his scout close to his enemy base here, because that could be used to his advantage to delay walls from going up here. Now, obviously causing some idle time for Jägerman here, forcing builders off berries, but where the Ghost Scouts could really be, if he's opting for the Scouts opening, is to be out to the sides here to make sure his opponent can't get walls before he gets more Scouts forward. So it looks like the Ghost now is going for the walling builders. 2 builders here though. The extra attack for his Scout helps a little bit, but he risks losing his Scout here now. Does not get the villagers. Nice work of everyone there, bringing in another villagers to fight against the Scout, and he will, as long as he plugs this gap as well, he will be fully walled from the Ghost's incoming Scouts forward. So what does the Gauss do now? He has scouts out until he deals with his opponent's scout. That means that the opponent will have very, very limited intel. He actually doesn't know for sure where the Gauss base is at this point. That's a huge loss for Jägerman at this stage in the game. Now 3 scouts forward, but they will need to break through palisades. With any luck, Jägerman forgets about the fact that Magyars get the attack upgrade for free, so that they will actually more easily break through palisade walls as well. Scouts looking for an opening here. There won't be one for the Gauss to find, but at the very least he will be forcing some creep walls now from his opponent. With very much luck here he will be able to break through as well. But here comes the blacksmith from Jägerman. He is Britons, so he's going for the archer's play again. Not really many other options with Britons. But I don't think Jägerman will allow the scouts to get in here, so he won't be overly stressed by that. Some idle time is being forced though, and he's pulling the villagers back, but keeping one to house wall behind here. No scouts inside for the Ghost. So eco setup is expanding 12 farms now for the Ghost, now also going to gold. Assuming on the follow, if this is a Scout's Archer's play, it would make sense to go gold now, but for going more quickly to Castage, I think I would opt for even a bit more farms before going to gold. So that food income is there. You need much more food for the Castage tick, so maybe commit to even a bit more farms before you go to gold here. Could also be that the Ghost wants to stick in the feudal age for a bit longer, add a range to try and break through the walls. Here comes the range, so it's indeed the ranged play for the Ghost here. With now 5 on gold, it means he should be able to afford some range production from one range easily. And Scouts are trying for a break-in as well, but there are pikes at ready already. Both players getting Wilbur at the same time here. The Wilder counts that even as well, so tells me a lot about this player's skill. They are pretty evenly matched. Archer range is up for the Ghost, is commencing production. There isn't any blacksmith yet as far as I can see though, so there will be archers without pledging. Could be just wants to add a few archers just to allow his scouts to break through and to deal with the skirms here as well, and not really commit to the archers play. This range could even be used for Magyars, for cav archers in the Castle Age anyway. But it's Jägerman who will click the castle age first. He is, after all, not been touched inside his base, except for the initial scout that almost got a will kill, but was in the end saved by Jägerman. He's going for repairs at its barracks now. Surprisingly enough, the range is added in the back by Jägerman here, so he wants to hide the fact that range is going up in the back here. That means a longer walk for the archers once they are going forward though. Archer trying desperately to hit the villager here. Now he hits the repair woman here. The Gauss now focus on the palisade instead, sending a small... Was it actually only a few archers here? Now another range for the Britain's player, so second range for Jägerman to expand his archers production. He has fletching as well, so his archers are better than the Gausts. So the Gauss breaks through, but with 3 spears right by the opening there, there's just not much to do with our scouts inside here. Committing to the repairs on the barracks as the Gauss is also reaching Castle Age. Impressively enough, with 2 more villagers as he reaches Castle Age, so that tells me that he's had a healthier eco the whole way, at least in terms of villager numbers here. Military numbers alarming at the moment for Jägerman though, having the 12-4 lead, but the Gauss immediately going for the second TC here, while Jägerman might opt for more army production from his 2 ranges here. He has crossbow text now, that renders the scouts of the Gauss more or less useless at this point. But what's the play gonna be for the Gauss now? He's taking elite skirmisher actually. So he wants to make sure he can defend against the archers forward bitten. I guess that makes sense. It's also a heavy food commitment though, so if you're going for the knights line in addition to this, it's going to be very food dependent. And this town center was placed but not really finished actually. The guy was floating lots of wood and gold though, so it could be that he's still thinking about the cavalry archers play as well. So 38 to 36 villagers here, 60 military Jägerman though not really moving out just yet. He should be, at the very least, be scouting to see what his opponent is up to at this point. He's very much just staying at home with his army, wants to defend against any forward here. We see the Ghost committing to Husbandry here that will allow his stable units to move more quickly. And also applies to cavalry archers if he at some point later wants to do the switch to cavalry archers with Magyars here. I'd say that the Ghost's eco setup is still very much set up for the archers line here. He has 18 farms, so he's got some food income here. But I think he really needs even more farms if he's going to sustain double stable production here. But for the moment, the Gauss not being threatened, he's committing to his boom here. All 3 TCs producing villagers. It's against Jägerman's now 2 TCs. Britons have cheaper TCs, but he's committed to only 2 for the moment and about the same number of farms as the Ghost, so he will be falling behind in villager count as long as the Ghost keeps his 3 TC production going here. So Bonfires just chilling out at home now, booming up and setting up the eco for a larger mass of units to force the fight later on. I like that the Ghost is chilling out on this hill as well with some units just to make sure no castle or any army presence of its opponent is here to deny his own stuff. here a monastery added for the Ghost as well. A couple of monks could be going for the relics. The Ghost, you said you didn't know there were extra golds here, so I guess you want to go for the relics for gold income here. Jägerman now finally moving forward with the scout. He built a stable to produce scouts and knights for now. He is with a massive military lead now though, Jägerman. So his population lead is in Jägerman's favor, but is very behind the villagers. Takes a look at the hill there, sees there are some units, but not nearly enough to challenge his army, so I think Jägerman will take a fight now, and he will be happy to take it and win it here if he charges. All my golds were in the center, so I thought it was like golden pit. Yeah, exactly. You could actually argue that this looks a lot like golden pit, except you have some wood lines and very much less fewer resources overall. Look at Jägerman with the sneaky move here with the TC forward to take the hill of the Ghost here. The Ghost will get a conversion hero, won't he? Yeah, he'll definitely get the conversion here. So I see the Ghost with the means to produce army here, either commit to cav archers or Knights Lion unit. Pretty decent flow of food and gold here now, getting the second armor upgrade, but delaying the armor production quite a bit here. So that could have been the somewhat, should say, unbalanced eco, at least for stables production earlier on. That you had 17 on wood and 18 on food, and that makes it hard to produce from two stables, so maybe not commit to the stable that early on. Invest a little bit more in farms and get your food eco going before you commit to multiple stables production, if that's the idea. So Jägerman really taking position on the hill here now. He's putting up a forward siege workshop. He has massive military numbers, could engage by now with luck here, because there's one TC outside of the walls of the Ghost here. I think Jägerman CCs is going for it now, taking the hill. His range allows him to take out the TC without taking damage as well, but now he's running straight into TC fire, so a bit unlucky there for Jägerman, running straight into TC fire, losing numbers. Needs some more siege of his own to deal with the forwards here. Then again, the villager lead, eco lead for the Ghost is significant here. He has he has more than 20 more villagers. So he should be able to outproduce his opponent. Now dropping a defensive castle there. Nice move from the Ghost here to secure this area of his base with the castle, potentially before Jägerman can get here. Now elite skirmers on the field, monks on the field. Jägerman with the hill though, that could be dangerous, but the most important thing here is taking out the siege and also distracting Jägerman so the castle can go up. So castle goes up for the Ghost. That makes things a lot more complicated for Jägerman here. If he gets the mass of rams, he could in theory deal with the castle here as well, but look at the Ghost going for the Imperial Age now. He will reach Imperial Age at around the 35-36 minute mark. And Jägerman has been investing a lot in army, especially gold for his Britain's archers, so he will not be clicking imp just yet. He might be saving up gold for that just now, but he's not exactly idling either. Taking it to light cav himself for defense against skirms, getting significant eco upgrades here, Bosa, something you ideally want earlier as Britons for the wood income to be more efficient. But here come the rams and archers forward for Jägerman. Did he... Well, if he didn't know there was a castle there, at least he knows now. So archers firing away the castle here now. But the castle should for sure be able to hit the archers here. But the Ghost has murder holes, so murder holes have the castle firing away at the battery arms and not the archers here. So nice awareness from Jägerman here, noticing that murder holes has the castle hitting the rams here, so he could actually freely stay with crossbows underneath the castle and take out villagers and other stuff. Dodges decently there, and loses only one crossbow to mangonel fire there. And I think in the end the Ghost's castle is in trouble there. I mean, there are repair villagers here, but the crossbows could deal with those. But here are the knights, no, light cab for the Ghost to deal with the siege finally. Castle stays up, Trebs will be queued, I'm sure, at some point to deal with the hill situation here. The Ghost knows there's something going on up there. But nice job of the Ghost to secure his castle and keep it up here. KD is still in favor of the Jägerman here, so he's had some decent micro here. Now he's added forward barracks as well. He knows the cavalry switch is coming in with a mix of Magyar, Hussars and Knights here. Actually pretty similar attack between Magyar, Hussar and Knights here. Knights with slightly more attack overall. But Imperial H is in for the Ghost. He's already teched the Imperial H upgrade for his cavalry line, so I think he's going to commit to Magyar Hussars, and Knights or Cavaliers here. Keeping his castle alive. I hope the Ghost will see this castle foundation, because then he could simply unite with a trap. This is only a few trap shots before it's down, so just go ahead and fire away here. Nice job using the Hussars here to focus fire on the building villagers. And having a trap firing from downhill, not optimal, but the castle building process is delayed significantly here, and Jägerman's forward is put to a halt here. He's losing army here, he's down to 11 army. Even Hussars prove efficiently against the Arbalesters of Britons here. And the Ghost dropping a castle on the hill, another castle. He is with a 2000 score lead now. That's also a massive villager lead for the Ghost. His eco should show the difference here. Castle down, TC down, Treb trying to move forward. Actually goes partly up to the hill there, but now Jägerman is almost out of armies, down to 7 military here. With 2 castles now out for the Ghost, there's no option really for Jägerman to hit the Ghost at home now, and now it's the Ghost's turn to take the hill advantage here and just push back on Jägerman here. Nice use of the traps here. I would like to see all 3 traps first, just dealing with this forward first and then just moving back. Looks like Jägerman isn't really in a position to... He is definitely in a position to drop more castles, so he could easily drop a defensive castle, preferably outside of trap range here. He's dropping barracks for pikemen to defend against all the Hussar spam here, but let's have a look at the Ghost's eco here. He is 46 on foot by now. This Hussar spam is never going to head. 7 on stone, and already with stone to support another castle drop as well. This would be a beautiful spot for a forward castle for the Ghost. Let's see if he goes for some kind of castle forward here. And there's an angry housewife at work for Jägerman here, just strolling through with a rolling pin in her hands, and she will suffer a bitter death here to Hussars. So the Ghost, using the Hussars for a little bit of vision here, he sees another castle going up, isn't particularly threatened by that, drops a castle nicely on the hill here, a few times more forward, and it would protect the gold even more, but it's just fine. Will provide cover fire for the traps easily here. The Ghost doubled the villagers of Jägerman now, 100 more population and 40 more military. This is 100% the Ghost's game to win. Magyar of Britain, Halberdiers won't really do much here by now. Nice initiative of Jägerman to take it, but here come the Trebs forward. No way of Jägerman to stop these Trebs other than with his own Trebs, but he doesn't have the masses. He may or may not be able to afford them. He's floating enough gold for one, but that's not going to be enough against 3 Trebs with a heal to top it off here. Strong forward by the Ghost here, not even bringing his Feudal Age archers forward. And has ceased production for now, but must be feeling pretty confident that his forward here will work out for him and that the GG will be called any moment from Jägerman here. Jägerman, after all, more than 100 population behind now, should be seeing the score as well. He's down almost 4,000 in score here. And the first stars are doing work, picking off even more villagers, meaning double villager lead for the Gauss still. Only 2 TCs for Jägerman, no expansion to any woodlands or anything, and the GG is called. Nice comeback, or if you could call it a comeback from the Gauss here. His initial offensive didn't work out, but then Jägerman got a little bit greedy, tried to assume the heal here in the Castle Age, but the Gauss was already taking pretty early into the Imperial Age. Let's have a look at his uptime here. He was up at 36 minutes, so a good 2 minutes before Jägerman that could get Trebs out and stronger units with the upgrades and exploit the age advantage to just push away his opponent. Eco very significantly higher for the Gauss here. You see the villager high as well. Surprisingly against Britons that technically have a Castle Age advantage with their TCs costing 100 less wood or whatever it is. So the 3 TC boom for Britons is pretty simple. All in all. KD 114 to 76, so positive KD for the Gauss there, and largest army also double of his opponent here. Alright, hold on for a moment, we'll be going to the next one. Game 4 will be on Jägerman's first home map, and the game is on Serengeti. Without further ado, we're moving on to game 4 between these two players. We have Serengeti, and we have a peculiar choice by Jägerman on an open map like this. He's picking Burmese for his Civ here on Serengeti, and he's up against a more obvious pick for an open map like this with the Ghosts Franks here. So Burmese, they're one of their strongest options is the Armby, their unique unit from the castle. It's classified as a cavalry archer, but they have a huge bonus against buildings, and they're, as you see, more resistant to monks here. So that's an opportunity for him with the mobility. The Ghost says, I'd genuinely expected him to pick Burmese in every game before this one. Well, he saved Burmese for his home map, you know. So there we go. Burmese, strong infantry as well. You can look at tech tier for that one as well. Infantry +1 attack per age. That means in the feudal age you get +1 attack for free for your infantry, which can be huge if you're committing to some kind of infantry forward here. Franks, however, with all this food access, fast feudal age should be easy enough, and you will just opt for the scouts and take map control and exploit the fact that the map layout makes full walling incredibly hard on Serengeti. So let's just move on. There will be a little bit of fast forward here just to get to the feudal age action, which I believe will be happening in this game. So Yerevan about to find his enemy's location now. See mill being dropped by the Ghost here, not taking any hunt for now. But this hunt is safely, some of it safely in the back, and then some ostriches forward. But here's the barracks being dropped for the Burmese player here. Both players taking it to Loom soon enough, and Eagerman going already to gold at right before he goes to the next stage. But it's going to be the Ghost with the first field age time here, and he has already dropped the barracks on his own, should be ready for the scouts production here. There is field age and will slow down, of course. The Ghost, though, knowing Jägerman with his Burmese play, lobs his infantry. Instead of dropping a stable right away for the scouts forward from the Ghost, he drops an archery range just to be ready to defend for what he knows is coming from the Burmese player. So Jägerman sends the militia forward, it's at least 3 of them by now, probably more to come, like a steady trickle of militia here. 1, 2, 3 angry housewives at work here, ready to make some action, but could be that Jägerman is struggling a bit for food here. Man-at-Arms upgrade just teched here. And for now just chills out on the hill here. The Ghost sees the scout, does not see the militia coming into Man-at-Arms, so it looks like Jägerman wants to delay any attack until he has the Man-at-Arms. No, he doesn't. Still, he has the +1. Nice quick walls from the Ghost here already, securing one of his woodlands here. The scout blocking the last one though, and Man-at-Arms in just at the right moment for Jägerman there. Nice timing from Jägerman. Gets one villager pick off, that puts Jägerman in the villager lead now with both players in the field age, but the Ghost ready for what's coming. It's also going for archer defense here, so he should be able to deal with the infantry forward pretty easily here. F for the villager indeed, press F to pay respect. I like the preemptive walling of the Ghost on the woodlines here though, not really in quick walls, just denying any men-at-arms from reaching that woodline, and meanwhile has pulled his villagers from this woodline to the stragglers. Only one villager behind, not a biggie, and in the field age at this point. Archers in production as well. One, no fletching, probably doesn't need it against this minimum mass of men-at-arms either. And for now, no more military being added by Jägerman. His military count is 4 to 2. Villagers taking some hits here, but men-at-arms need to back off again, and the villager will go on to building the house here. So archer is chasing. There is a couple of ones in the range as well. So a few archers, only 3 men-at-arms for Jägerman this time around though, but now he's taking supplies, so he definitely means to invest into more of them. And seeing the archers of his opponent, he has also gone for a range of his own. Could be he wants to add some archers of his own, or just some skirms to simply counter his opponent here. 3 archers for the Ghost, 3 men-at-arms for Jägerman, but Jägerman's eco here suggesting either going to the next stage or simply committing to the upgrades and more men-at-arms. He has tech supplies already, so his men-at-arms will already be cheaper for him. And if he can sustain the numbers until the next stage, he will also have long swordsmen, potentially with 2 extra attack, since it's 1 extra attack per 8 for Burmese. Nothing much happening for now. The Ghost archers kind of out of position here, but quick walls save the forward from any men-at-arms here, so good to go in that sense. Yeah, the Ghost archers pulled back, dealing with the men-at-arms now, getting some hits in, no fletching or anything, no blacksmith for our Frank's playing friend here for now. But there is a woman going forward here. She's a hunter. Could be a forward production buildings being placed here. It's going to be a forward barracks, forward range for Jägerman. Forward rangers, always nice to have the reinforcements close, but also leaves your base very vulnerable. But there is some production at home for Jägerman as well, so he should be okay. Just a few archers for the Ghost, maybe they add distraction and maneuver. He's already forced his opponent into 5 skirms, meaning Jägerman's Castle Age time will be impaired here. The Ghost, on the other hand, is also floating a decent amount of food. Got the nice Frank's farms working for him here. He gets Force Collar and Heavy Flow for free. And now with 13 farms working for him, they already floating lots of food options here. Archer is being chased down, but I don't think the Ghost will be committing to the range here other than for defensive purposes. Meanwhile, Jägerman being annoying with his forward here, he's playing Men-at-Arms from home. They're not too costly food-wise, because he did take supplies, but you can see it's still taking his toll on the food producing Men-at-Arms and skirms like this, and this will hurt his uptime a lot here for Jägerman. He's also invested into fletching here for the skirmishers, so really committing to his feudal age play here with Men-at-Arms and skirms. Which is a play you wouldn't think would work against Franks, but because Franks would usually go scouts, and then you had scouts to counter skirms and to some extent also the Men-at-Arms. But the Ghost knows who he's up against here, he knows there would be some kind of Men-at-Arms spam, that's why he went for the archer range early on, and probably has some other plans for the later game. A defensive tower, hurtful for the Ghost though, doesn't even finish, so that's some stone down the drain for him. But look at the Ghost now going for the stone here. He is on the way to the Castle Age. He is with 4 on stone already for Franks. They have cheaper castles, so we could be looking at some kind of castle drop here. Also adding some scouts. Nice means to add with the skirms here while he's trying to force a villager away and maybe Sagan, but didn't quite succeed there. Men-at-Arms spam still at work for Jägerman here, almost playing Burmese like Goths. But note that he has been extending his food eco, he's been hunting the hunt where it was, and he's adding some farms, and with his supplies being checked early on, he's not investing nearly as much food into Men-at-Arms production either, so he is closing in on the Castle Age tick here as long as he sees his production or gets a market app to adjust his eco a little bit. But Castle Age kicking in for the Ghost. He actually is mining without a mining camp here, a bit of a small mistake here for his stone miners, could be a lot more efficient here. But then again, lots of stuff going on in his base that he needs to deal with here. Skirms firing at the gold miners with repairs going on behind as well. Castle Age is in. The Ghost floating enough gold to actually buy enough stone for a castle as well if he wants to rush that castle up, but desperately needs a mining camp on this stone already. He will never get stone for a castle in time. So let's have a look at Jägerman's eco again. It's very close to the Castle Age click now. Should probably be clicking up any moment, at least if he's looking at his resources, waiting for that. But delays it even more, is still in feudal age. No production in TC. Could he be missing in building? Oh, he has range and blacksmith, so he's not missing buildings either. But he's committing to his forward here, tries to do as much damage as possible to the Franks player and also protect the Castle Age tick. Burmese get elephants as well, so that could also be a play for Jägerman to extend his forward here, but he's committing to the barracks here, dropping the forward barracks as well, and Men-at-Arms with 6+2, so he's been investing into feudal age attack upgrade, the forging for the Men-at-Arms as well, but they are subject to TC fire, need some significant numbers to deal with the TCs with Men-at-Arms. Meanwhile, the Ghost is at 343 stone and going pretty heavily on stone here. 9 on stone now, so he's definitely going for a castle drop. The question is, will the castle be defensive or will it just be all in forward? Garrison can send TC again, focusing fire on the Men-at-Arms here, so it cleans up the forward. Little by little has some knights out now as well with a +1. Deals nicely with feudal age Men-at-Arms, even with the extra attack that they have. So looking at the score again, these players are very much even in score every game in the early stages. It's now only 100 score difference between the Franks and the Burmese, or the Gauss and the Jägerman here, but Jägerman with the military lead so far, but the Gauss obviously already in Castle Age with the stronger infantry here. Will we be seeing the pikeman click straight away for Jägerman here? He can certainly afford it, he can also afford multiple TCs here, but he is also likely to go for a castle soon enough for the Arambai. Burmese indeed, Alkolner. Here comes the first castle for the Gauss here, dropping it defensively. That makes sense, that protects this woodland here and to some extent not gold as well. And Mila is still heavily on stone, so the next castle will for sure be a bit more ballsy. Knights now. Look at Jägerman, the sneaky guy here, taking the hunt of his opponent. So yeah, the Gauss didn't bother getting all of his zebras, so Jägerman says, no, thank you, I'll take this food, thank you very much, but some knights putting a stopper to the villagers for now. Jägerman again floating a lot of resources here, now taking Long Swordsman. Yes, Pikeman obviously wants to deal with the knights of his opponent, but what is Long Swordsman going to do against castle defense here? So let's have a look at the Gauss stone count again. He has dropped a foundation somewhere. So while he's being attacked by some sneaky infantry and some forward production here, the Gauss is taking the long way around and is going to drop my foundation straight on Jägerman's gold here. That certainly denies one gold from Jägerman, and nothing's to stop the Gauss from dropping another castle here with stone and gold as well. And then, what does Jägerman do without gold for his precious infantry units? I don't think the Gauss, this is not something that Jägerman doesn't even see. He might be spotting this on his minimap now, he's paying attention. But then again, you're focused elsewhere, most likely. There is no actual significant army forward going on for the Gauss, for Jägerman right now, but he doesn't seem to react to the castle drop. And look at the house walls here for the Gauss, all the way up to the woodlands. Wants to make sure that this castle is just never ever going to be stopped. Jägerman could stop it with his skirms, only one skirm at home though. His other skirms are out of position. Here are a couple of them and some of them forward here, so this is going to be trouble for the castle. What did you do, Akkal? I got rid of the afro. Too much hair down the drain. So the forward castle is successful for the Gauss here. I think he has a decent eco to back it as well. He's spending now Axeman forward here. Frank's OP, Frank's best save, that's what I tell you. Looking pretty. Now we're using guilders here to tear down the home barracks of Jägerman here, and these angry boys and girls doing some serious work here with cover fire from the castle. They can safely attack here because they know they have their precious castle to retreat to here. So the Gauss sees these resources. This should be a fantastic place for another castle drop, but for now it's actually not on stone at all. Just stonewalling off at home, wants to make his little own arena over here. The Mice Red would be very much proud of the Gauss right now. But meanwhile, committing to throwing Axemen and castles forward. So, throwing axe thingies doing work here. They even without upgrades, they do very nice against buildings, and if Jägerman goes for any defensive siege now to try and ram on the castle, they won't stand any chance, because the throwing axemen, they just belt siege like rams. They are maybe more subject to auto attacks, but rams. would melt to drawing X-Men like this. Look at the Gauss now. Okay, let's see. My gold is not too safe at all. I'll just take yours. Thank you very much, Jägerman. Couple of progressmen, we see that there's 3 TC boom going on for Jägerman as well, 2 TCs at home, and 1 conveniently enough forward on one of the woodlines that could or should have would have been the Gausts if he had dropped the castle here instead, but that was not an option. There was lots of production here from Jägerman already. But look at this mass of throwing Axie boys here, accompanied by knights. The Gauss using his resources wisely here, still floating lots of food and gold here. So there's no reason for him to stop the production. He looks like he wants to deal with the forward production of the Jägerman here, with throwing X-Men. They shouldn't have any trouble if any infantry pops out from here, then they simply melt to the throwing X-Men fire. Nice preemptive walls from the Gauss on this side as well. The stone wall is definitely working out for him. The long swordsman will struggle here. Even with their 9+4 in the castle age here, we see some preemptive walling behind here from the Gauss as well. Skirms might be able to deny that a little bit though, so not foolproof in that sense. But throwing X-Men, Scout and Knight now moving further forward, I think. The Gauss now also in a position to buy stone to drop another castle if he feels like it, otherwise he's getting closer and closer to the Imperialist kick as well, but meanwhile Jägerman has found an opening into the Gaust's home base here, and the Gaust is forced to bring some units home to defend. These farms are very exposed, and that's exactly where Jägerman seems to be going right now. But all of the throwing X-Men just leaving them forward and going back into the Gaust base, and they should easily deal with the skirms and long swordsmen here. Bit of overreaction maybe from the Burmese player here to garrison inside his TC here. Not really anything going on here as far as you can see. Could have been some raids, maybe just forgot to ungarrison here. No army forward for the Gauss right now. 90 military to 28, but there's throwing X-Men. Technically they would easily counter both these types of units, because skirms don't necessarily work that well against. Yeah, they do some decent damage, but then again with the range that throwing X-Men have, the 3 range, a little bit of a micro, and you could easily deal with long swordsmen from a distance here. Skirm's doing surprisingly well here, I must say. But still looks like the Gauss will be able to more or less clean up here. Sends in a knight as well, should put an end to this war from Jägerman. Jägerman now with 20 military, still committing to his forward here with pikes and skirms inside the TC, but not really goes for forward castle here. So now Jägerman wants to get to his Arabai here. Certainly floating the resources for it. None of the players going for Imperial Age just yet. The Ghost just committing to his Castle Age play here. He's freed up his units at home. Could bring them back forward again now. What micro the Ghost? Yeah, exactly. I think that's what Akkal-AOE means to say. So adding siege forward now for the Gauss here, that should aid him in taking out any production. Nice preemptive reaction from Jägerman here, that adding not only 1 but 2 defensive siege workshops though. That's what he can do when he's floating so much resources and not constantly committing to units production. So drawing X-Men going down to TC fire here now, but at least the Gauss will see the castle going up here. He can dodge the fire. And this TC is still garrison, but that's only an archer and some units inside there. What kind of combo has the Ghost in mind here now? I think both Mangonels and Rams wants to go for a serious siege offensive here now. I think that could work out for me. Not quite agree on releasing the siege this early. Maybe just wait for 1 or 2 more Mangonels, because you deal much more damage. I have this really bad habit of using the select all military hotkey. Oh, there's a select all military hotkey. I don't think I have one of those. Anyway, Mangonels on the field for the Gauss now. Jägerman with most of his army forward. We must remember that this had them garrisoned here somewhere. Imperial Age coming in for Daniel, or the Ghost, which is his nickname. And the Imperial Age pretty far away for Jägerman here, who is off gold. And it seems to be struggling a bit here now. He wants to drop a defensive castle now, I think that's a nice move, but look at the siege here just melting to the throwing axemen here. Mangonel's firing away at one of the Jägerman's TCs here now, and Jägerman slightly behind the villagers, although being on 3 TCs himself, loses the... No, doesn't lose the castle foundation, he just simply deletes it because he knows it won't go up. Tries some repairs here, but there are knights to deal with the repair villagers again, so nice micro from Daniel here to select the repair builds and just make sure that this TC will eventually go down. Now 4 Mangonels out on the field. Nice comeback indeed. It's been down from 2-0 here to Gauss to go to 2-2, and that on Jägerman's home map. It leaves Jägerman with the last match for his home map though, so it leaves him at a home advantage, has to be said. So throwing Axeman now running under TC fire here, but the TC is causing a lot of idle time for Jägerman here, who is again completely off gold, hasn't opted for any of the neutral golds. Maybe he doesn't know about them. His scouting is kind of limited. He does know the relics location though, so that's something he could have gone for potentially. I don't see any market for Jägerman. Ah, there's the market. So he rushed up the market, could now sell resources with not decent prices actually. Oh, and there's that one. But Mangonel's still a threat in his base. Imperial Age in for the Ghost. Elephants being out defensively for Jägerman now. Score still pretty even. Villager lead for the Ghost, villager lead for Jägerman. 75-75. KD here for a moment. But look at the 105. You can resign castle from the Ghost here. Jägerman will lose his second home TC. Is left with only 1 TC forward in the castle here. I haven't seen a single arrow by pop out of the castle either, so maybe that was never his intention. Elephants on the field, but Mangonel's backing off immediately for the Ghost here. We'll have some cover fire from 1 at least, maybe 2 castles. Nice quick wall foundations from the Ghost here. Won't let the elephants in on the castle foundation being built here, and I think it will go up. And once it goes up, we will have 2 castles firing away at Jägerman's rather unprotected elephants here with the missing defense upgrades. Rams out on the field for Jägerman. The Ghost with 9 military against 41 here. So Jägerman with a significant armor lead here, but it's not really using it for anything. So, so what does he do from here? He is behind, he's still in Castle Age. He's fighting in Castle Age forever, like Kong forever intends to do sometimes, with the superior ability. But how do you push back these amounts of castles though from the Ghost? I think the Ghost will lose 1 castle here, but he can still commit to units production now, getting upgrades that will apply to throwing axemen and other kinds of melee units here. Jägerman not ready to give up on his home map yet. He's taking down 1 castle here with Rams. And Elephant seems to work out for him afterward. Getting some villager kills here, but what does that do with 2 completely idle TCs? This TC actually made it, or he made a new one, but he's down almost 40 villagers now. He has the military lead, but as said, he's still not really doing a lot. And Daniel has a trap at home as well to deal with the forward buildings of Jägerman finally. I'm a bit scared to see a trap all alone on his own here now, though, without any cover at all. Will likely go down even the pikes here. And Daniel losing his forward here now, so it's very strong fight. Strongly fought back by Jägerman here, but look at the production here. There's our scouts on the field for the Ghost here. This is the select all Midrotkey moving that trap. Ah, okay. I see. Pikes on the field for the Ghost, that's really not going to do anything when elite scouts are on the field. They counter those. And but scout cab coming out for the Ghost. Is he going for the light cab upgrade as well, or just going for the scout to buy time here? It could be just buying time, and Let's have a look at his stone. I was suspecting a castle drop here, committing a lot to that with 18 villagers total building. I think it's correct decision. Protects this gold, protects some woodlines, and leaves cover fire for a potential loot trap to deal with Yegaman's horde there. Yegaman dropping a university now. Maybe he feels like he needs ballistics for those skirms, or masonry for his buildings to save his forward here. But the Ghost gets his castle up, Jägerman with no means to produce anything. He is still floating lots of food and wood. You could spam pikemen for until the next century with these kinds of resources. As soon as I hit Imp, I thought I had this game. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure what happened there, why Jägerman keeps holding on. He's looking at the score probably, and realizing that he's not in such a bad spot, maybe. But his eco is weaker, no argument there. The Ghost with... Is it still under 1 TC? Must have expanded here to some other neutral places. Taking the neutral stone as well. These castle drops are just never going to end for the Ghost here, and with good reason. We are doing nicely defensively now. Could make use of Trebo 2 here now, I think, but maybe wants to wait for the second castle to finish just to have the cover fire and the means to produce 2 traps at once. But the forward is officially done for the Ghost on this side. Still 2 TCs at home for Jägerman now. He rebuilt one here as well, reclaimed his farms. But he's lagging completely behind the villagers. He's down to half of the villagers of the Ghost, and I don't really see any way back for the Ghost, for Jägerman in this one. The Ghost surely has this game in his pocket with twice the villagers, 40 more population, matching the military numbers to some extent, and that with stronger military. Jägerman also not going for the neutral golds here, not even his side gold here, which I believe he must have scouted. Right now he's just missed it, so that's bad news for him, but there are still some neutral golds to be taken to the sides here, and that would call for some map vision for the Ghost to deal with, but yet enough stone for another drop of a castle. Jägerman trying his best with some forward rams here, but there are scout cabs still on the field here for the Ghost to deal with these rams. Surely should be going down even to scouts here. And the Ghost with 700 stone, that should mean almost another 2 castles for him. And this is the never-ending castle push from the Ghost. I'm looking forward to seeing how many castles he has had in the end when this game will finally get to the GG. Pikes and knights on the field here. Needs some management here and there for the Ghost now. He's running right into the pikes with his knights though, but he has pikes of his own to deal with some bonus pike. But look at the pikes for the Burmese player. He has 4+4 because infantry units get extra attack for H for Burmese. But I don't think Jägerman will ever be seeing Imperial H in this game unless he sells some food and prioritizes getting that upgrade. But he's still behind 50 villagers, and it's just at the same at the village count. And look at the Ghost focusing down the market of Jägerman now, so there won't be any resource adjustment from Jägerman now unless he drops a new market, something I don't see him doing. Elephant still roaming around on the field here, not very resilient play from Jägerman here, not refusing to give up, even though having lost so much map control and his forwards not succeeding for him here. 3 traps now firing away at this castle on the hill, and will Jägerman call the GG when this castle goes down? So looking grim for Jägerman now. He's losing more villagers as well. Could be scout raid going on here, but the Ghost scouts are fighting Burmese light camp here. It seems to be doing okay still. There's some extra HP for the Franks scouts after all. I wonder why he never went for the light cap upgrade here. Not that he really needs it at this point in the game. But Halberdier coming in, Squires coming in. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 2 forward castles, so that should be 6 castles, yes. Jägerman with the means to drop a castle is still not running out of resources either. He's taking some neutral wood here, but not going for any neutral golds. Those are the Gausts. He could also opt for a defensive castle on the neutral resources here, but still I feel that the Ghost thinks he has this game in his pocket, so he's not really in any rush to advance or take any more neutral resources. He's still floating lots of resources. Look at the stone count here, not mining stone anymore, but with not enough stone now to drop another 3 Franks castles. Dropping more stables as well. With the unique tech of Franks, you could produce even more quickly from the stables as well. Cavalier incoming for the Ghost here. We've been floating quite a bit of food and gold now, so a Cavalier spam shouldn't be an issue here. But again, we see Jägerman not giving up here. This is his home map after all, has to be said. So he sent some light cav out on the field for some vision and some counter attack here. I think my personal best of castles in one game is 12 or something. Probably with Franks. Or actually I did one on Mega Random once on the rank ladder. I played Persians 1v1 and actually a Persian's Mirror, but I just went for the castles and War Elephants, so I had like 16 castles producing War Elephants in the end. I won. So the guy was now opting for the Halberdiers now mostly, and has gotten the light cap tech in, but floating lots of gold here. But finally the GG is called from Jägerman. He feels there's no going back from here. There are still some places to expand to, but lots of blue on the map here. So the guy's taking the map control, taking the win, and taking the game to 2-2. So we'll have a 5th game on our hands here. GG's indeed. Now I actually don't need to hide the fact that there is a 5th game here. We're going straight to game 5. Jägerman's second home map, it's Shrublands. My heart sank when I saw his save. Yeah, right. So we have a matchup here. It's Jägerman picking Indians for Shrublands against the Ghost with the Khmer here. So Khmer, as we know, it's a civ that can go up so easily to the next age. They don't need any buildings to... They don't need any required buildings to get another building up. They could drop a siege workshop right away, no required buildings before that. Or they could go straight for the stable and feudal age, not needing a barracks. All in all, that means you could potentially save lots of wood early on for the buildings that you don't necessarily need. It means also you could place farms right away if you feel like just wasting the wood on food income right away to begin with. Jägerman, on the other hand, has somewhat of a counter sim to Khmer here. He has Indians, that means he has great camels. Camels with 1 extra Peter of armor and bonus attack against buildings. That means that the Indian camels, especially the Imperial camels, are one of the few units that could actually potentially contest Khmer elephants. Both actually to some extent in the Castle Age against Castle Age elephants, but also in the Imperial Age. If you get the Imperial Age, they should be able to deal with Khmer battle elephants pretty decently. I'm not too sure how they trade 1-for-1 because the battle elephants are very tanky after all. But then again, the camels are much quicker and we can always catch up with the camels. This is a very open map. It's called Shrublands. You only have small fields of... Actually, you don't even have small woodlines close to your base. You only have the Stranglers. Then you need to expand to get to the woodlines. The woodlines could sometimes be just really far away. We see Jageman has one not too far away from his TC here, so he's okay with that one. But the Gauss needs to expand pretty far to get to the woodline here. Thinking a little bit of a lumber camp placement here, that when the woodline is on a hill like this and you have this access of trees, maybe being on the top of the hill would be better, because you would be less subject to archer or melee attacks with your choppers, and you would also have access to more trees and more wider area to chop. But we all know the first lumber camp can be a bit of a stressful thing to get up, and it will not always be optimal from your scouting. So players pretty similar here. Is it any loom for Jägerman yet? Yeah, he probably was idled again or housed and went for loom here because he's one builder behind, but he has loom. So any early aggression from the Ghost here will be a bit tougher to pick off builders since his loom is teched so early. I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit now to catch up with any feudal action that might come. Indians go to play, I would say, scouts here, because the builders are cheaper, get cheaper each age. That means you save quite a bit of food and would more easily be able to sustain scouts production as well. Both players up to the fuel age though. The Gauss dropping the barracks. I appreciate him doing that because he's probably expecting scouts forward from his opponent. Means that he already has the barracks. Even being Khmer, he has the barracks and the potential of making spearmen to defend. Maybe most importantly his woodline here. And I like the house placement of our Khmer player here, since if his woodline gets raided, he could hide inside the houses and then task a pikeman over or something to deal with it. But Jägerman doesn't seem in any stress to get army production going here. He's dropped the barracks, but is for now just walling off. Lucky of Jägerman to get a map that could actually be walled off on a very open map like this. He has, of course, a huge area still, but his potential for full wall is arguably larger than the Gauss still. Now he's dropping the stave there, kind of late considering his fuel age, but he's not in a hurry. He's still building with only one builder, so the Gauss he should have the army lead with scouts on the field. He has 2 scouts now, does he? Hope he sees this stable going up, because if he does, he could deny that. No, unfortunately for the Ghost, he doesn't quite find his opponent there, but there are resources here that suggest that the base is nearby, but the stable finish is just in time for Jägerman here. The Ghost only with 2 scouts, for what I can see. He's struggling a little bit for food here, maybe too few farms to little this or that, but he's on both woodlands, should be able to cure more farms soon enough. Also being Khmer, you could drop farms anywhere. You dropped the barracks because you forgot the Khmer bonus. Oh, okay. Well, you might need it anyway. so even though it could feel like a waste of it right then, if you get scouts against you, it's very nice to have the barracks ready to produce. Scouts on the field for the Ghost here, killing one builder at Jägerman's woodline, so nice value there. Has the Ghost catching up a little bit on the production here. It's Jägerman with a slight one builder lead here, but is he adding spears? He's actually not adding spears for now, just committing to his own scouts. I think this is a fight the Ghost could take. It could hit both his scout, weaken his opponent, and then run away with a weak one. Takes the engagement, but now he will have 2 scouts against himself, so this is a fight you need to back away from. More scouts coming for stealing the Ghost. Also go over to the blacksmith, maybe considering going for some upgrades for his scouts here. Military counts now 3-2-2 for Jägerman here, means 1 more scout for Jägerman, no spearmen for any other players, surprisingly enough, and the Ghost supplying scouts from home now will have a shorter way to the reinforcements. This is pretty similar HP wise, but with the Ghost extra scouts coming in, that's a fight he will win if it comes to it. Takes the hill now, maybe actually getting skateboarding armor for 3 scouts here, so Kind of interesting. He must have seen the walling going on the other side here as well, so I'm a bit surprised not to see the scouts more forward, but of course they were facing resistance. Now it looks like Irman might be able to wall off here. He'll just wall this section and he should be fine. Little opening here, but that's towards his TC, so any aggression coming in this direction will run right into TC fire and be in some trouble. The Gauss now with the upgrades for his scout though, so he has extra defense here. He has actually gotten the attack as well, so he should definitely engage here. Okay, when you see groups like this, you're evenly numbered, check their upgrades. Because if you check this, you see that your scouts are vastly superior to your opponents. I think maybe no bloodlines for the Gauss, but other than that, much stronger scouts. My plan was full feudal, the Gauss says. Yeah, that makes sense on a map like this. It's open. Can be fun playing full feudal as well, but there's always the risk of a fantastic map gen for your opponent like this, actually being able to full wall. Another stable for the Gauss here, but now some scouts of Jägerman inside his base here, needing some reaction here now. Stable will be delayed, but garrisoning will maybe finish off at least one stable here. Nice quick walls from the Gauss though, securing this gold. I question this walling a little bit here, although it saves the wood line. It seems like a kind of a waste of wood walling all the roads to the edge here, but maybe the plan is extending a bit further here, I'm not sure. So scouts being annoying from Jägerman again, but it's the Gauss in the score lead for now though. But the Gauss bringing all of his scouts home. Seems like a bit of an overcommitment for the time being, but will easily be able to forward here. Massive villager lead for the Gauss here. Also getting to the castle age, but Jägerman is already there, being full wall and camels on the field for Jägerman, also with the +1. No, wait, that's the Indian bonus, that's the free armor they get, but with the attacker print. So now 7 feudal age scouts against 4 castle age Indian camels. Should be a fight to win for the Indian. And let's see if they cross paths here or if the Gauss manages to dodge this. Nope, sees the camels, so nice of the Gauss to spot this army coming forward. Now is the time, if not earlier, is to time to queue pikes to deal with this. I see some creep walls coming up and some stone being mined from the Gauss here as well, so you could be thinking about the defensive castle at some point. Or if it's not even for extra TCs to extend the boom here. The Gauss needs to keep in mind though, he can garrison in houses, easy to forget when you're Khmer, even still if you're under pressure like this, but this was 2 villagers going down that could potentially have saved themselves garrisoning into houses. But nice work leading the camels towards the TC here, at least leading the camels into taking damage here and not allowing them to really do any significant real damage here. Villager counts even now for both players. Jägerman has opted for another TC. The Gauss is about to reach the castle age. Could go almost straight for a TC drop, but I think he will be forced to commit to army here. I don't see anything queued in his barracks, but he's queuing pikemen now and queuing some units. Unfortunately, the camels get in through the palisade here and are disturbing the Gauss woodline here. Gold income here, and looks like he will get a couple more kills from Jägerman here. Strong display from Jägerman so far with a ridiculous map actually able to full wall and getting the castle age quite a bit quicker and getting the camels out, which basically counters a lot of what Khmer has to offer to the game. So 6 camels on the field for Jägerman. He has 9 army total, means more camels will be coming in. They can even deal with buildings, so he could consider targeting production buildings for now. There are pikes in the queue, but there's only 1 barracks for now making pikes with the Gauss, and it's the resources are looking dangerously low here. Could be one idea here is that, well, you desperately need the pikemen. Probably need more numbers before you can engage, but also pikemen, they cost wood, so if you cancel half of these, you could drop another barracks and have double barracks production on pikemen just to speed it up a bit. So that's a bit of a, probably a failure due to stress here. But it looks like the pike numbers are decent here. The camels need to back away for now, but it's 10 camels against 7 pikes, so still the camels would win any engagement here. So Jägerman wisely backs off. He's also missing some defense upgrades here. He could, in theory, he could challenge and still win because he has such a number of camels, but no need to waste them. But what's being queued now? Jägerman is going for the Indian cavalry archers. Certainly not the worst option, but it is an option. Going for Balkan arrow, what's the range? I mean, it's a fantastic raiding unit, but they fire so slowly, and they cost gold as well, so... But with the mobility of cavalry archers, he has a means to deal with the pikes as well. I mean, he could bring them in more quickly, so I guess that's a valid choice there. Here come the camels breaking into the palaces. The pikes are out of position, and bringing 1 camel here into the pike group. I don't know if that was intentional enough, but that was still a nice move to delay the pikes even further from getting back into the Gauss's base here. So pikes chasing pikes, only with the, no, actually with defense and attack upgrades here. So good job of the Gauss to get appropriate upgrades to more easily deal with camels. I think quite a few camels will go down here for Jägerman unless he pays attention, he pulls them away. But he's facing a significant number of pikes here now, only from 2 barracks from the Gauss, but still. So having on 2 barracks is a slightly slower production, but in exchange more resources for more pikes. See cavalry archers doing work now, picking off a few pikemen here, but need to bail still, run away. And camels run straight into the pikes again, but the pikes don't engage. And Jägerman now with the consistent double range cavalry archers production here has an easy means to deal with the pikes here, and mobility not least. The Gauss floating a decent decoy. Look at the food decoy just spiking up. But still will struggle a lot handling the Indians forward here with lots of camels, now hitting his stone miners as well. Cavalry archers taking the hill, getting yet another few hits on pikes. Those are a pain in the ass to micro these cavalry archers because their frame delay has them shoot so much later when you turn around. But it takes out 1 by 1, and the pikes number is just now less scary. It's 11 camels to 12 pikes and some cavalry archers, though out of position right now. But look at the camels going straight for the, puzzlingly enough, going for the stables and not for the barracks here. And the camels actually kind of engaging here, but cavalry archers also on the field to restrict any eco expansion here. Nice awareness for Jägerman, seeing a TC about to go up here. He gets some very nice villager pickups along the way here. The TC will go up, but the Jägerman will in exchange get 4 or 5 villager kills here with his cavalry archers. So battle elephant on the field for the Gauss now, probably his best option with cavalry archers on the field to maybe tank some cavalry arrows and allow the pikes to get in and get some hits. But look at the KD here for Jägerman, pretty impressive with a 43 to 18 here. And 3 cavalry archers, some cavalry archers still roaming around, rendering the Gauss's eco idle here. Has some 12 villagers idle now, and is also falling behind. The population is 51 to 39 villagers. Albeit with 2 TCs now for the Gauss as well. So same number of TCs should mean that he could be getting the villager counts up to match Jägerman's, or at least not fall further behind, but takes its toll on the eco as well, needs to drop more farms to sustain constant villager production, and the only safe locations left for the Gauss at the moment are the woodlands. It's only a matter of time before Jägerman could use some of his army to spot where the Gauss is actually taking wood. I'm surprised the Jägerman hasn't gone to the sides to scout for the woodlands here yet, just to kind of end it and stop wood income here. If wood income is stopped for the Ghost, he would be forced to call the GD, but the GD call is called anyway, and it ends with 3-2 for Jägerman, with the perfect sieve to counter any aggression on the map like this. Also a great map for Jägerman with the option for full wall, something you wouldn't see usually on shrublands with an open map like this, but he gets away with it. Could have been punished earlier with a few more scouts from the Ghost at the right spot, but I think the Ghost was struggling slightly with food early on, and in the end is left with very little eco and has to call the GG. So congratulations to Jägerman for winning the Silver League semifinals. He will be proceeding to the finals, and we will be playing against Knutan96. Yeah, no worries. I'm happy to cast interesting sets. This was a very even set, so even more fun to spectate and cast live. So uptime's pretty similar here. Villager higher for Jageman in the end, but he also had a superior economy, although it doesn't show from the stats here. More income for the Gauss, but more units lost in the process as well. Alright, I'll be taking a short break to have a bite. So I will be taking a short break, and then we'll be doing the Gold League bronze finals between Airtel and Tiger. But that's coming a bit later. I really need something to eat before casting the next set. Alright, here we go. This is the bronze final of the, what would we say, main league, gold league of Desert Cup. So the players here are the ones who didn't make it from the semi-final to the finals. That's AR12 here in the red, playing as the Vietnamese, and Tiger in the blue, playing as Aztecs. So it looks pretty. Tiger reminds AR12 that you have a restart. He forgot that or didn't know about that in the semifinals, so that sucks for AR12 if he got the shitty map and didn't do the restart. Anyway, Tiger here with Aztecs, nice counter to Vietnamese, potentially actually. Aztecs have fantastic skirms with their unique take, and they have access to eagles to deal with archers, so they should pose a challenge here for AR12's Vietnamese. Looking at the map gen, looks like AR12 got the better of it here. Tiger with very almost non-existent woodlines here. This forward one is decent, but it seems like Tiger is going for the back one first after all. Nice wall off here on the side. He'll probably find the last few sheep here while he scouts. He's already found them. But then there's kind of a worry here with this whole section here. Could maybe use the cliff and wall towards the stones at the edge here, and he has at least the main gold pretty secured. But compared to AR12 space here, Tiger is unfortunate. Well, granted, there's a forward gold for AR12 here, but he has his side stone. Back stone could be decent if he goes for the castle and rat and archers, but there's not really any need for AR12 to go for any massive forward or the aggression here, because he could wall himself in and be pretty safe here. Look at these wood lines for the two players. Huge wood lines for AR12 here. Juicy, fat wood lines on all edges here. Almost a desert void map for AR12 here. And on Tiger's side, just these puny small thingies here. And then he needs to migrate all over here, all the way down to the corners and sides to get more wood. So this... the play for AR12 here when he scouts his opponent might actually be just to deny the wood lines, because this back one here should be safe for Tiger. He'll wall off a bit and be okay, but then once this runs out, he will have only these two wood lines to move to, and he should be in somewhat of a pickle because of that. Anyway, speeding up for any potential feudal aggression coming in here. Just a slight bit of fast forward. So no players going for the drush, no small golds taken here. AR12, of course, walling off. He sees his fantastic map. Must be getting an idea of his opponent's map as well. Should be seeing the barracks going up shortly. Barracks is up for Tiger. AR12 probably will consider one as well. Actually gets harassed a little bit by Tiger's Eagle Scout here, so the walls are staying incomplete for AR12 for the moment. No barracks for AR12 though. Seems a bit greedy, but here's the barracks acting kind of like a wall here. And AR12 brings his scout back as well, just to deal with Tiger's scout here. So Tiger producing the militia is going for the drush approach here, even after seeing the layout, or part of the layout from AR12's map, and seeing the walling going on. If he can prevent the walls from going up, he's fine, Tiger. Then he could get value from the drush, but if he doesn't, then AR12 is in a great spot, not needing to make his own militia or men-at-arms to defend or to offend. He could just save those resources and go straight into the archers, or even worse, straight to the castle age. Even worse for Tiger, straight to the castle age. But Palisades being rushed up now. Eagle alone won't be enough for Tiger to deal with these walls not going up, but the militia are coming forward. Could be just in time here. 2, 3 angry houses. No, look at this! There are villagers as well. So Tiger really committing to the forward nastiness here. He wants to tower rush his opponent. Yep, going to stone now. So in the end, it's going to be men-at-arms towers for Tiger, but the resources are here for men-at-arms. There's resources for a tower as well. This woodland is easily denied by one tower, but considering the map of AR12, I'm not utterly convinced that men-at-arms towers is the play, because AR12 has 4 great woodlines for him. Had the positions been reversed, I would be totally for men-at-arms towers here, but now Tiger goes for the forward aggression. The militia or men-at-arms are even cheaper as well. Not cheaper for Aztecs, but you get loom. You start with 50 extra gold, so you have some more options there as Aztecs. So little did Tiger know that there is a stone in the back for Airtrail. So Tiger is great tower rusher, we have to say that, but he is very blind as to where Airtrail is taking his resources as well, because didn't really gather any intel inside. Saw the barracks, nothing more than that. Airtrail just going straight for the archers here, and he should be in a pretty nice spot to defend. So back tower going up here to provide cover fire for this forward one. Seems a bit too far in the back though. Not doing too much. Defensive tower going up, men at arms hitting the walls. Tiger somewhat far away from another tower for now, but the quick walls from AR-12 are doing the job here almost. But men at arms get the whole foundation there. Tower goes up, but Tiger can garrison and counter fire at AR-12's defensive tower. Looks good for Tiger so far, although he loses one man at arms there. But not the end of the world, all things considered. AR-12 has only the one tower for now. He is, of course, going straight to stone for his own to have potentially another defensive tower up soon. Gets idled quite a lot here. Tiger with a villager lead now, 28 to 25. Airtrail with no production whatsoever. Tiger sees the tower is about to go down, will drop another. Now one woodline is down for AR-12, but AR-12, as said before, has a fantastic map here. Completely walled. Tiger would need to deny all 4 woodlines of AR-12 for this to work actually. And that's no small task. He is deny 1 stone, yes, but AR-12 has stone in the back, and Tiger is blind to the fact that there are resources in the back. If Tiger sees another defensive tower going up though, he will know that AR-12 has stone somewhere else as well. Airtrail has archers, 2 archers out now for him, no blacksmith. He has to invest into the defense, obviously. Kind of heavy on berries now, desperate for the food income there, but still with some decent, good defense here against Tigers. Man-at-arms, towers forward. Tiger using one of the men-at-arms to scout here, so he's found the other woodline that could be hit, but that's a long walk for his villagers here. So defensive tower goes up for AR-12. He is with 5 on stone now and really needs that stone income to sustain a couple of defensive towers, but he's doing the right thing here. Gets 1 tower up within range of the TC, means that Tiger's villagers can't easily batter down this tower either, I think. Yeah, it's within range. So hitting the tower with villagers, not an option there. Nice placement from AR-12 there, knowing that this is within TC range and makes it tough for Tiger to batter it down. But this woodline and stone definitely denied. Tiger dropping another tower now on AR-12's goal, but AR-12 reacts immediately with another defensive tower, and it's not going to run out of stone in the back here anytime soon. Very lucky for AR-12 to have a back stone like that in the event of a tower rush or man-at-arms towers that Tiger's doing now. However, looking at AR-12's investment into archers, he could be starved for wood here. He's dropping another little camp in the back here, but that's subject to tower fire here. This woodland is also subject to tower fire, so if Tiger really commits to it, he could deny all woodlands here with towers. Actually, maybe not this one, since the defensive tower is already up here. Tiger loses one of his forward towers now. Eco-wise probably doesn't look too pretty for Tiger here now. He is with the villager lead by 5 villagers, but also has committed to 6. Well, this is 6 villagers forward, probably the last one. Walling in the tower still making them tougher to deal with anything else than a defensive tower here, so I'll give him that for his forward. But AR-12 now dropping the blacksmith. Very patient defense from AR-12 here, and now he has 7 archers ready to go that will have fletching. Tiger is actually full walled, but yeah, he has stone for some defensive castles at home as well if needed, so he should be able to defend his main gold and whatnot here, woodlands maybe as well. With 7 archers now going forward, Tiger's forward is put at the halt. Doesn't look too great, although he went for intensive forward to deny or delay Air 12 as much as possible. But Air 12 is catching up. It's 41 to 35 builders. With, yeah, minimum of idle time for both players. Tigers has one idle somewhere. Maybe inside one of the towers. Yeah, next to one of the towers. But here the archers are forward for Air 12. That should put the stopper to any efficient quick walls from Tiger, but he places a market foundation which the archers can't reach. Meanwhile, the archers are going for this palisade, and that should leave an opening towards Tiger's main goal. So even if Tiger quick walls behind here, AR12's archers will be within range of the main goal and also able to loop through here. But nice defensive walling work from Tiger here under this pressure anyway. The archers are reflecting, now looking for somewhere else to harass, I guess. Tiger preemptively double palisading behind here as well. AR12 sees this, won't reach there in time, but did he just see an overtop? He pulled his scout very suspiciously quickly back out there, AR12. And if Tiger does not see this overtop in time, he is in big trouble. Oops. Well, nice awareness from Tiger. He spots the overtop as the archers move in and is able to quick wall the archers out for a little bit here. Pulls back towards the DC, saves the wood line, but AR12's archers only a matter of time now before they move further in, if that's his intention here. Both players up to the castle age, impressively enough. Let's have a look. Tiger floating a little bit of E3 resource here. AR12 much more wood than back. He could easily go to 3 or 4. He could easily go to 2 or 3 TCCs in the next age. This is why I use cube mods as the Ghost. Yeah, okay, well, it still looks ugly. So AR12 now just committing to being as annoying as he can until Castle Age will kick in. Tiger will be in a bit more trouble to sustain production. He could be looking to go straight to the Eagles from the setup. Pretty heavily on gold and with decent food eco to back it. Maybe that's going to be his play here. Doubling up on the mining camp now goes really heavily on gold here. So I think it's the direct Eagle Warrior switch for Tiger. Could struggle a bit with the Eagle Warrior upgrade. He would need to cease production a little bit, but he should be. But he has a market, so he should be okay actually. No, that's karma for towers. Yeah. I would agree with you there. Tiger with the quick walls again wants to keep these archers out desperately, but Castle Age is in, and Castle Age is in for AR12 any moment as well. If AR12 is quick, he would be able to deny this C-throw shop. But then again, you don't want to venture too far into your opponent's base. But sees the foundation, sends the scout first. Nice move there. Doesn't really go for the denial of the C-throw shop here, I think. Or will he make it in time? Needs maybe crossbow to reach that. No, C-throw shop goes up. So obviously for Tiger, defensive mangle in queue. But meanwhile, crossbows inside Tiger space from AR12. Looking tough for Tiger to come get away from this. His only accessible gold is here, the main gold. He needs to venture outside of his base to get more gold. Will be forced to do some market abuse here, Tiger, to get things done. And look at this eco, it doesn't look too pretty. Only also with one Eagle Scout. And AR12 meanwhile losing a few crossbows to Mangan Fire here, but splits and brings in the Scout yet again to either stop the repair wheel or simply deal with the Mangan. Look at the block here. Tiger manages to get repairs in though, but needs to deal with the Scout as well, because Scout deals damage easily to its Mangonel. So some sneaky, nice micromanagement for AR12 there. And also with the forward siege now, and the forward monstery from AR12. AR12 really wants this game to go to his favor and go to 1-0 for him. And with the pressure going on now, looks pretty nice. Tiger are on the counter attack here, so he didn't keep his Eagle Warriors defensively. He went straight for the forward and looking to deal some damage to Air 12's main base. Air 12 also sticking on. No, it's dropped on the TCs, so on 2 TCs, but even with some kills here, I think Tiger will struggle to do enough damage here amongst all the TCs and towers and whatnot. Air 12 garrisons, saves most of the villagers, gets some tower and archer fire in on the Eagle Warriors that get more and more weakened, and although Air 12 doesn't have a direct answer to Eagle Warriors at home at this point, he's been dealing damage to Tiger's side as well, maybe now losing his forward and losing a Magdal there. Actually puts his crossbows back just to deal with Tiger's forward feeds. Forward barracks for Tiger, I actually never noticed that he had the forward leaders here, of course, so. But the mass of Eagle Warriors too much for Vietnamese to handle at this point with this number of crossbows. But we now have a monk forward and some siege headed towards Air 12's home base again. Is he going to try to get a sneaky hit on the weak eagles here? Oh, attack ground! Attack ground! Yeah, just passing. That was a bit of a disappointment there that no manual attempt happened, but of course Air 12 wants to deal with the forward here on Tiger, wants to deal with the towers, doesn't see the barracks but could deal with them as well, unless more eagles come to the field to deal with the Mangolan again. So 1 tower down, 2 Mangonels on the field now. Tiger needs a significant number of Eagle Warriors just to make sure to clean this up now. Well, we'll probably be seeing some repairs from Air 12 soon enough, but Eagle Warriors are here, but with 11 crossbows you should be able to one or almost one shot anyway, Eagle Warriors. But there are some upgrades in here. Air 12 looks to be dropping another archery range. Here comes the stable. Maybe want some light cavalry knights out to deal with the Eagle Warriors at this stage. But the crossbows are doing decent as well, and Tiger will for sure lose his forward production here, but it also buys him time to reboom back home and stabilize his economy. Also a significant amount of Eagle Warriors for Tiger here. It's 16 Eagle Warriors, but needs to be careful not to be hit by an attack ground by the Mangan Air 12 with 800 points score lead, so the game looks still in his favor, but he is being annoyed quite a lot by the forward Eagle Warriors here. Also, without dealing with the production from these barracks, Air 12 will be seeing more eagles coming into his base if Tiger has the eco to support it. He's running a bit low on food maybe, but is still committing to production from all 3 forward barracks. Army numbers 14 to 6 for Tiger now. Eagle Warriors in the end do counter archers, so he cleaned up the crossbows nicely here and now is going for the stable. So military count very much in Tiger's favor at the moment, but Air 12 holding on, placing military building foundations in a way that raiding won't be easy for Tiger to accomplish here. Also hides away some knights in the home base, brings in some crossbows. That can be... Okay, maybe just trying to bait the Eagle Warriors in this direction and then bring in some knights and some other units to deal with them. I don't really see why 4 crossbows would attack 20 eagles. Air 12's micro is good, but maybe not 5 crossbows versus 20 eagle warriors good. I would love to see it though. So, forward siege being added to target as well. He refuses to give up on his forward here. He's keeping his army numbers high. He's keeping the army lead, but he's not really allowed to let through either. He is going for the forward here, so maybe aiming to take out some production or to be able to take this stone for himself. I mean, if he mines enough stone, he could drop before the castle and something like that. But can see what he's doing here. He wants to take out the siege here from his opponent. But on the other hand, if he just broke through the palisades here, you will have fantastic raiding options into Airtel's base. Palisades would melt like paper to mine a lot of fire. Or to ram fire, as it would be. Patient play for Tiger, I must say, now has a whooping 31 Eagle Warriors forward. And I don't see any easy way to deal with this for Airfell, but now he has 7 knights with +1/+1 and some siege result. If he can get the manual hit on these Eagle Warriors, if that's the intention, he could weaken quite a few of them, and then suddenly the knights and crossbows will do just nicely here. I think Airfell is trying to bait the Eagles into kind of a choke point here, getting some manual shots in. Manuals counter Eagles if they can get the hits in. Not to be recommended though, but it's looks like it's a potential option. But there goes the manual. That's more than 100 gold down the drain. We have some chat going on here. I think that Tiger was forced to do a pause or something. With Airfell massing up the army as well, adding a few more knights. He's with a significant villager lead here against Aztecs. He needs to Aztecs with their eco bonus, bringing in extra resources per turn or whatever it is. They could get by with less villagers overall, but Tiger is still expanding, adding his what's actually only his second TC here. Now tries for the ram push again, but he should know there are knights on the field as well, so needs to pay attention to his army here. Still keeping army production up, and now with 30 Eagle Warriors. But looking at the military count, it's 39 for Tiger, 40 for Tiger, and 32 for Airfell, which is mainly knights. Now still with the +1/+1 and crossbows to fire from behind. So it's using the knights as a meat shield and as a block against the Eagle Warriors here, so he can get the most of crossbows firing here. Nice manual hit for Tiger in the heat of the moment there. Gets some weakening, and although only killing one crossbow, it's still a decent hit for him. But at the cost of losing numbers here is now Airfell with the military lead here, and Eagle warrior numbers, very gold heavy, are subsiding here for Tiger. Also tasking them together with the rams, meaning the Eagle warriors will move more slowly. Makes the warriors more subject to crossbow fire as well. Another nice manual hit from Tiger. He, to some extent, is able to keep the manual away from Airfell's knights, but the knight finds a way in and deals with the manual first, then tries to get some hit in on the Eagle warriors again. Tiger's eco still looking decent, now with 76 villager against 103, but I think Airfell might be with better setup over here overall. See, both players producing quite a lot though, so it's far from over. And Airfell now with a defensive castle, close to the hill here, but really just wants to deal with the forward here. But yeah, removes the foundation and goes for the hill instead, understandably enough. But that being said, Tiger loses most of his army and is forced to call the GG here with 12 military against 35 in the end, and simply a weaker eco overall after opting for the tower rush. So So just a brief look through the scores before we move on to the next one. KD 97 to 57 for Air 12. That says something about some next level defense here all over, but very consistent, resilient play from Tiger as well. To instead of dealing with the crossbows in the base with the mass of eagles he was massing up, he sent them all forward and went for the raids, trying to deal damage to Air 12 and restrict or at least delay his boom as much as possible. At times pretty similar here for both players. That's pretty impressive considering Tiger's towers opening, leaving him with a worse eco, but he got there somehow. But ends the game with 30 villagers less and something that impacts your eco, of course. No army at all here for Tiger, was mainly towers to begin with, and then Air 12 meanwhile keeping, for the most part, a consistent number of military, and this was the only kind of weak point for Air 12 throughout the game, military number wise. We're going to the next game, which will be on Sahara. So this is Tiger's home map. Switching the screens here we go. And we have a Mayans war, guys. So can easily understand the Mayans pick here. There are lots of hills in the middle with some limited resources to fight for. Actually, both of these. Tiger really got with the map packs today. He has some better woodlands this time around, but and decent walling option. But his only accessible gold is his main gold here, which is forward and very close to a hill. Stone forward as well, so I don't think we'll be seeing any tower rush from Tiger this time around. Actually, it will be perfect for his opponent, maybe the tower rush as well. But anyway, main gold here, side goals for Tiger all the way out here, almost in the middle of the map. It's a ridiculous map. I would almost have called a re if I were him, but at least he has the option of a full wall here along the woodlines and hills, so maybe he'll be okay-ish after all. Air 12 on his side, forward stone, side stone, main gold forward, secondary gold a bit to the side, and the other secondary gold all the way over here. So not a pretty map for Air 12 either, but again, a less wood costly wall off for Air 12 here, so I think we'll be seeing maybe both players walling off this game, unless they want to go for men-at-arms or rush to begin it just to buy themselves a bit more time for the fast castle. Tiger may need to be the aggressor here due to the way his resources are positioned here. So we're just fast forwarding a little bit to get to some of the fuel action here, just to see what the kind of plans be. We see the house walling beginning already. Tiger using the stone as a natural barrier here. Air 12 doing the same, but Air 12 dropping pretty early barracks here. He's dropping the barracks at okay, not that early. He's at 20 pop. I guess that suggests men-at-arms for Air 12 and Tiger with barracks as well. Had some quick wall foundations here, but the barracks will be saved. Looks like he wants to extend his building walls all the way up to the hill here, which makes sense to completely, or as much as possible, secure his main gold from offense. But again, really bad map for Tiger on this one. Tiger almost succeeds in laying some cheaper, but nice quick gate for Air 12 there, almost patting in Tiger's scout right into his base, but doesn't happen. Tiger dodges that, doesn't fall for the trap, and is able to collect some valuable scouting intel on his opponent's side now. So he's found the berries. He's probably very happy to find out that the berries of Air 12 is all the way in the back, so when he goes for his infantry style opening, he will have a hard time getting to the berries and delaying any food income here. On the bright side though, if Tiger sends the militia out at the same time as the upgrade is kicking in during feudal age, he might be able to reach Air 12's side before Air 12 can get his walls up, but Air 12 also with 3 militia out. So has he seen any on Tiger's map? No, Actually doesn't have any intel on Tiger's side just yet, but only small section on this side towards Tiger for Air 12 left wall, so maybe Tiger's early aggression won't pay off after all. Good thing for Tiger though is that Air 12 doesn't know for sure what's coming his way. He doesn't know about the barracks. He doesn't know that Tiger is this open at his own side either. But here comes the angry housewives from Tiger here, going towards AR-12, same composition. I don't know if Tiger spotted it, he just turned around there. Doesn't look like it was intentional. Tiger actually going for the 4 militia here. I think Tiger maybe knows of AR-12's barracks, knows what AR-12 is up to, and in that case goes for yet another infantry unit. It's another 20 gold investment, but it could pay off if you run into your opponents forward at the same time, right? But villagers going forward for Tiger again. Is he going for the man-at-arms towers play again here? It's a bit sloppy of Tiger not to see that his opponent is right there, but meanwhile his forward is in place, but Air 12 has had the distraction he needed to fully wall his base. Chases the Eagle Scout for a little bit here, and now the men-at-arms will be trying to find a way in, but they will most likely be stopped by house walls, foundations, and these kinds of stuff. Tiger does commit to the forward though, 8 villagers forwards again. I'm beginning to sense a team here. Tiger going for another tower forward against this Mayan opponent. Makes sense to try and delay your opponent as much as possible though, but playing it this open at home, maybe that's what he needs to do. His resources are bullshit at best, with the side goals being in these areas here. And one would almost think that Tiger is Mayans because he's sending a total of 10 villagers forward. I would say you could justify sending a few more villagers forward as Mayans simply because the eco is better. But while Tiger is forwarding AR-12 with towers, AR-12 is forwarding Tiger with his own brush and militia. Tiger managed to sneak this woman away from the barriers and save her though. And has men-at-arms of his own that he brought back to deal with AR-12. So Tiger's towering villagers are forward, being restricted by quick walls from AR-12 again here. AR-12 with the defensive tower, but Tiger with this commitment of number of villagers, he should still easily be able to get up a tower before AR-12 can counter tower, and AR-12 actually bails on that counter tower. Good news for Tiger now that AR-12 is off both of his gold here. Main gold is off limits, side gold is off limits by tower. There's only the side goal on this side for AR-12 to go to, which is in a position kind of a bit hidden away. Maybe Tiger hasn't even scouted that one. Has AR-12 scouted it? Actually, he hasn't, so none of them know about this third 4-5 goal deal here. Tiger loses one forward unit to TC Fire here though, and now goes for his own villagers to batter down this quick walls for AR-12 here to try and extend forward. Angry housewives in Tiger space still being annoying, but not being specifically dealt with at this point. And Tiger now starting another tower foundation with just one brave woman here on the other side, but brings down the house here now. Will probably commit all his 10 villagers to this tower and get it up before AR-12 can get the defensive one up here. AR-12, we saw his tower defense, tower rush defense last game though, and he must be so tired by now by the fact that Tiger is going for the same play again. Although on a map that justifies it with the placement of golds and stones here. Love to see a tower of Tiger from the outside on this stone as well, because if you deny AR-12 completely of stone, then AR-12 will struggle a lot more to get the defensive towers up. Still militia battering away here on Tiger's mill. Tiger not really addressing it, too busy forward with whatever he's doing. He's forward folding a lot of stone by now. Stone, wood, gold. He's yet again being forced back. The towers not entirely working out. So now dropping another tower on the wood line could potentially deny AR-12 wood here as well with the appropriate towers. So 2 towers being dropped at once by Tiger here. Tiger is slightly lagging behind the villagers though, not surprisingly, since he's not really had any. Well, he's basically down 10 villagers from the fact that the 10 villagers of his are building forward aggressive towers. More towers forming for Tiger here now. Good. He can't send the villagers in to batter this one down because it's still too close to the TC, but it repairs his own opening, hoping to have his own tower, winning the tower war here, which it should, but with the tower being fully garrisoned as well, the repair villagers won't have any easy way to hide. They're going back to another tower. Airfront sends lots of villagers forward to build fight here. He commits to bringing down this tower. Meanwhile, Tiger sends forward another 5 villagers. It's beginning to look like Tiger wants to base trade here or just be 200% annoying on this home map of his. But Airfront is also making it hard for Tiger to get his forward over to this. I even placed an outpost in this area just to make sure Tiger doesn't come from this direction. So some nice map awareness for Airfront. They're now also spotting the neutral gold there. This is huge for Airfront because it's been off gold for a long while now. Now we can just go for the neutral gold that Tiger hasn't scouted. Tiger says thank you very much, wants to take the side goal of AR12 here, since he's completely protected by his own towers here. That's 12 villagers committed to forward. Meanwhile, Tiger has bought himself time with the forward to maybe finish some full walls on his own side. This is some serious wall commitment here, but it might go up because there isn't any presence of AR12 forward at all. But the mistake of Tiger not scouting this side, not having full view of all of AR12's standard resources. So this side gold here is going to pay off big time for AR12. It's going to be untouched because Tiger hasn't scouted it yet. And while Tiger thinks maybe that he's denied AR12 completely off gold, there's another field being taken over here. Airfront dropping a market on back. He's been sustaining his eco impressively in the back all this as well. He is at 600 something food and missing a little bit of gold, but he's mining that right now. And with the Mayans resources lasting longer, he'll be continuing on that one. He will for sure be the first one to reach the next age here, although Tiger is not too far off cast age either. But the click is there for AR12. There's quite a few farms working for him, more than Tiger, more healthy eco overall. Tiger should be following suit to cast age soon though. I don't see Tiger going forward on this side with one villager though. Maybe this villager get lucky, sees an outpost that doesn't really do much. This fellow is a gold miner. Puts a tower here, but that's too far away for the tower to reach any woodline. I don't think that's even in with fletching here. Could be just within range, but that's barely. Tiger will definitely need fletching for that to be efficient here. Meanwhile, Air12 has archers in production, and this villager should be a gunner unless he finishes the tower in time, but there's just no chance for that right now. Yeah, Tiger tries to force building here, but Airfront nice awareness for him to see the tower foundation going up here. Tiger needs to bail on the tower. Meanwhile, Tiger is only 30% behind Airfront to the next age with somewhat healthy eco to back it. He's probably been using the market a little bit still, but if Tiger can get some forward siege working for him here, it could still he could still do some serious damage here. But cast age is in for Air12. Tiger's forward doesn't succeed to the match. Air12 even with the option of a defensive cast here. And then what does Tiger do? So Tiger pulls away from the neutral goal by now. Has Castage in himself. Can actually drop a castle of his own. I didn't. Should have expected that since he was heavily on stone himself. But what does this castle? Yeah, the castle still denies the main gold over Airtron, so I guess it's justified castle placement. Both players could go for two dodges. Problem being that, yeah, Tiger actually with more wood and gold eco to sustain this. Is he dropping a TC as well? He's dropping a TC on woodline, so he wants to secure that income right there. Now goes back for the gold after dropping the forward castle, but does not opt for plumed archers at the moment. Could be looking to maybe do a fast dip as well and get the traps out, but that's only speculation from my part. So Tiger completely idling here. I get the impression that he wants to get to the Imperial Age here and get the true head start to Imperial Age, but what does he do that with against another Mayans player with obviously the same eco advantages, going for the now at least 2 TCs, maybe 3, and even dropping a tower on where Tiger is mining gold here, so a bit of a stab in the side there, dropping a tower where Tiger has been mining his gold safely for a long while here. Tiger is indeed going for the faster Imperial here, and will of course be to the way before AR12 here, but at the same time with very little eco to back it for Tiger, he is at 44 villagers. Since the Tower Foundation goes for a neutral gold this time around, this is no, hold on. Okay, so I guess the neutral golds are 4 tile in this map as well, because there are 4 tiles here, but look at AR12s. Plumed Archers, fantastic map awareness there to know that Tiger will be going to another gold spot. Will deny these gold. No, just running past. And actually AR12, I don't know if this is common game sense or if he just has a great eco after all, but he's going to the Imperial Age as well. Will only be 25% behind Tiger to the Imperial Age, so Tiger getting up early will at best get one trap out a bit earlier than his opponent, and then should it come to a trap or it's AR12 with more eco to back everything here. So Tiger tries to go for this so it's not a neutral gold, it's his actually his secondary gold here. But Plumed Archers on the field again will be a little bit fighting back and forth here with these two. But AR12 has Bodkin Arrow, Tiger does not, so actually AR12 could have taken this fight. Meanwhile, Tiger is breaking through. What's the eco like? He could. Well, he needs to market abuse, but if he sells Thunderstone, he would be able to afford the trap right away. Probably just waiting for a little bit more gold. There's the trap. We'll have a couple of Plumed Archers maybe to back it, but there's army for AR12 as well. He has 8 military total. 8 military, 2 TCs for AR12, but okay, actually, Tiger's home eco hasn't been touched either, but Tiger committed to 10 villagers for this is quite a bit of a commitment of villagers that could otherwise have brought in wood or gold or whatnot. But the trap is out and AR12 is queuing 2 traps immediately. So unless Tiger pulls some... Yeah, Tiger could also get another trap going actually with his current eco. Plumed Archers, AR12 though with the military lead here, AR12 with also more resources in the bank could be... Okay, he's going for an early ballistics here maybe with his university, or maybe even siege engineers to outrange the traps here. players repairing the castles, but there are... Yeah, there will be a lot of turn for both players as well. It looks like Airtel is... I was going to say it was auto-stop, but it was only his castle completely repaired, so it looks like Tiger will be losing this castle and trap war. Meanwhile, Airtel has some small groups of units out in the field as well, just to have a little bit of vision on the map, and maybe the potential to raid here as well. Tiger is full wall with palisades though, so no, this one is open actually, it's gone to this stone now. So Tiger needs to either, I was going to say he wants to drop another castle, but it looks like he's only committing the Mind Stone to repairs here. Seems like Tiger might lose his forward castle here. Now the Triboli, and I think he's out. And then what does Tiger do? Losing his forward castle is struggling a little bit of eco here. Now opts for the archery range. Gets housed though as a result of losing the castle, and Air 12 is in a position to soon afford another castle, which he could potentially drop on the hills here to restrict any more forward aggression. Tiger pulls back, isn't even allowed to take his own golds here. Both these golds are per definition belonging to Tiger's map generation here, but he's being restricted. I mean, castle on the hill here, they have a bit of a forward castle from Air 12 here that should reach or at least threaten the gold of Tiger here. So that's a good castle placement on the hill as well, and with some trebs to back it up, and Air 12 now dictates the pace of the game as opposed to Tiger with his towers early on. See the infantry upgrades coming in for Tiger as well, so he could be thinking about an eagle switch here, but what's his eco setup like for that? Not too shabby. He could get some units out with this kind of eco, but the wheelbarrow is happening very late for Tiger. Meanwhile, Airtrail is getting chemistry, which will allow even more upgrades for the archers here, or the plume archers. So Tiger with the fighting spirit here, but what does he do with 2 military against 40 military and trebs pounding away at his base and production? Walls are down, plume archers enter. Airtrail also focused down some production buildings here, so it's not going to be easy for Tiger to get any army out to do this. It has housed as it is, but losing some villagers leaves at least some population space for some army. Dropping quite a few barracks here, but eco is limited. The upgrades might be as well, missing at least the last attack upgrade. Airtrail, with the awareness of something going on this side, also tries to deny Tiger from getting more army production capabilities over here. Airtrail could consider bringing his tribes over here just to deal with this production, but maybe wants to go further into Tiger's main base. But the GG is called. Towers didn't work out for Tiger on Sahara either, and we will be going to Tiger's second home map for game 3. Show the stats again, but sometimes significant. Villager higher for Airtrail in the end is 98 to 76. He even got around to capturing 1 relic. Up times significantly earlier for Tiger. That's also already an indication of something that could be man-at-arms, but also turned out to be man-at-arms towers with a lot of villagers invested forward. Eco stronger for air 12. He sustained his eco production a lot while Tiger was tower rushing him with many villagers taking away potential eco from Tiger, so he didn't get enough value from his towers there. And KD a little bit more air 12's fire with larger army in the end as well. Game 3 will be on plains. And for this matchup, we have Tiger with the Malians against AR12's Magyars. So here comes game 3 of the set for these players. We have Airdrill here picking Magyars for this very open map. Looks like a map that would favor scouts openings, although scouts could always be quick wall out, of course, if you're aware. And on the other side we have Tiger with the Malians. So Malians have an easier time getting army production going because their army production buildings are cheaper wood-wise, or I mean all wood buildings cost less wood from Malians. So Tiger could more easily get up, for example, blacksmith raids or blacksmith stables and still afford farms earlier on. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see scouts opening from both on a wide open map like this, but I think on the other hand, Malian men-at-arms have an extra pierce armor, so they will do very well against arrow fire, so Malians are prone to going men-at-arms as well, or as we've seen for Tiger 2 times already, men-at-arms towers. So maybe third time's the charm for Tiger. His map looked decent with the gold in the back, but again the two side golds very far to the side here, main gold forward. Air 12 sort of in the same position though, stone maybe a little bit more in the back, berries in the back, that's always nice against men-at-arms openings. But then gold, forward gold here, and this map, full wall is mainly not an option. A bit of a bugged gold here as well, right up against the woodline, not ideal, not a crisis. So let's see what will happen if feudal here. And Magyars also have a great men-at-arms opening, actually, because they have the melee attacks upgrade for free from the blacksmith, so once they reach feudal age and get men-at-arms, they get the +1 attack for free. That can be really strong. So we could be seeing men-at-arms from Air 12 as well here. Air 12 this time around scouting Tiger a bit earlier just to make sure Tiger isn't on stone and going for the men-at-arms towers play again there. Air 12 going up significantly earlier this time around, and look at, I was going to see these villagers going forward, but a bit of a disappointment there to not see any villagers going forward for towers, but only to drop a lumber camp on the wood line in the middle between the two players here. So almost stealing wood from the enemy here from Air 12. Barracks goes up at home well in time before the feudal age kicks in. And Air 12 with 19 or 20 pop-up, Tiger with his 21 and with 4 army going forward. But does he know his opponent's location? He does not. So this is bad news for Tiger. He must be having some idea here. With a luck he sees the woodline of Air 12 here. Unfortunately he doesn't, so a bit of lacking scouting for Tiger there. Or a bit of unlucky scouting, I could say. But Malian militia going forward, angry house fires at work right here. Feudal age kicks in as Tiger gets housed, but has the means to upgrade, and here comes the men-at-arms upgrade. Delays the spear to afford both double attacks and men-at-arms here. This time, no villagers going forward for Tiger, so it's only plain men-at-arms here, no towers to reinforce that, but some crazy quick walls for Air 12 here already, while Tiger is aiming straight for the berries. Has the scout close to block villagers from doing as well. The +1 attack kicks in whether they be men-at-arms or not, so Tiger might get the villager kill here. Nice blocking the pathing, taking HP loss to the scout, but saves all of his army here, although taking some damage. Meanwhile, we have the Magyar's scouts forward here with the 3+2 already. That's the perk of being Magyars. You get forging for free, you get iron casting for free, etc. etc. once you reach the next age. So scouts on the lookout, but Tiger already palisade walled his golds here, so that won't be an entry point for Air 12. Spearman at patrol here as well. Air 12 dodges right away. Meanwhile, men-at-arms being annoying at Air 12's side, but not causing any more damage for now. Tiger is down 1.5 villager right now. Air 12 opting straight for the scout, archery range. So it's going to be scouts into archers here for Air 12. Maybe scouts into skirms as well if the Malian player goes for something like that. But I think it's going to be skirms to deal with Tiger's spearmen. You're actually going for more men-at-arms here. So actually, why not? If skirms come to the field for Air 12, the men-at-arms will tank a lot of spear fire from the skirmishers. So aside from it being a gold investment in unit and potentially could delay Tiger's Castle Age, is a good choice to counter what Air 12 brings to the table here. With one men-at-arm down at 1 HP here, still alive, all of his initial men-at-arms here, so good job from Tiger so far. He's forward, taking good care of his units not to die to TC or other kinds of fire. Idling Air 12 with 4 villagers on the woodline here, so that's significant for Air 12, but he still has wood income here, where Tiger, I think he still hasn't scouted it, and that's huge for Air 12, that he gets to chop trees all undisturbed here, and even the stable is there, so Tiger hasn't really found any of Air 12's production, so Tiger won't know the range is here either, although now he sees the skirms out on the field, so Tiger must know something is going on there, but losing numbers. Tiger with the military lead though, 12-4 here. Air 12 actually forced to fight with villagers now, just to clean up the rest of it here, but the villagers should be doing okay, brings back the scout, which is kind of weakened. And actually commits to some villager fighting here just to get going. Tiger with the villager lead now though, he is dropping another barracks. So it's really committing to the men-at-arms swordsman line here. Will be cool to see Miley and longswords a bit later on here. Although the production could benefit from being closer to result 1. Finally Tiger finds Air 12's wood line here, so Tiger could deal some significant damage on Air 12's wood here. And just to make sure, Tiger is dropping a tower on the woodline that Air 12 has so safely been using here. Doesn't look like it's within nominal tower range though, it's could be just outside, but it also secures this side for Tiger. Tiger won't stop for lumber camp here later, so that kind of makes sense anyway. Men-at-arms still chasing. I think Air 12 is happy about this. He's only providing trash himself, scouts, skirms, spears, while Tiger is investing heavily in gold. So Air 12 actually hasn't even gone to mine gold yet. He's fine. Making do without gold, committing to feudal fighting with now 18 farms working for him, and for now a somewhat safe woodline here, but skirms against Mali and men-at-arms, not the best option, obviously. And tower goes up, maybe leading Air 12 to believe that Tiger is going for more than one tower, but Tiger is not on stone here, so he's just adding that tower to annoy Air 12's woodline here. Looks like Air 12 with the help of some of his villagers is idling quite a lot here to fight off the men-at-arms Tiger here. But as said again, the Man-at-Arm is a gold investment, should leave Tiger with weak eco, food and gold wise, and delays the cast age click with this constant adding of Men-at-Arms like he's doing. Tiger splits up his army a little bit, will easily deal with the scout here now, and runs into some skirm and scouts fire now. He's in danger of losing many men-at-arms now with 2 men-at-arms just stealing up here. He has spread out, losing numbers here now, the KD 22 to 16 for Air 12, but value-wise, Tiger has lost lots of gold here. Look at his eco, 22 farms, not quite kicking in yet resource-wise, but it will assist his constant production of army here. But now Air 12 is going to gold, could suggest that he is aiming for the cast age soon. His eco certainly set up for it, 400 food as of now, and now with 6 on gold, so he should be able to be the first one to reach the next 8 by far. He also has the buildings required, while Tiger still only has the blacksmith, and now he's missing the second feudal age building to pick up, so even if Tiger had the resources, he couldn't click up at this moment. Tiger committing to the men-at-arms, likes his infantry this game, and apparently it's also of course one of his strengths on Malians. But taking into account that Magyars will always have the attack for free, that's also less food investment in the upgrades, and look at the food count of Air 12 here closing very much in on the clicking to the next stage. And 18 farms still for Air 12 doing work for him, while the men-at-arms are chasing skirmishers, but taking hits along the way and taking damage, and more gold down the drain for Tiger. It is a significant number of men-at-arms on the field for Tiger though, so getting the numbers this high, if he goes for the attack upgrade as well, he could use it to his advantage to take out production buildings from Air 12, and looking at scores pretty even as well. It could be scouting, could be army numbers, could be kills, deaths. But Castle Age, I was hoping to see Castle Age for Air 12 soon, but he's committing to a few more scouts now and defenses, so it's being gallant here and staying in the field age fighting himself. Maybe feels he's being outmassed in army and needs more numbers to deal with, but now 4 scouts out on the field should be, with their attacker player, be able to deal with weaker men-at-arms like this, and chasing one after one here. Men-at-arms chasing one skirm here, but more men-at-arms coming in for Tiger still. Just committing to his men-at-arms forward here from these 2 barracks. Has also been saving lots of wood because it's dropped all these 2 barracks and the blacksmith, otherwise it's been houses and farms. Now men-at-arms pounding away at houses and production here. I'd say go for the production first here, because you won't be getting your opponent housed as easily anyway. But looks like one stable will go down for Air 12 here. It doesn't stress repairs with it, all just keeps production from 2 stables and also adding archers. Archers suboptimal in this sense, considering that Malian's units have extra piece armor, but still damage is damage, and with scouts in front and the men-at-arms not able to get to the archers, archers still valid options here. Quite a few weak men-at-arms here. Tiger nowhere near clicking the next stage. Was the situation like for Air 12? Also pretty far away, but with a bit more miners on gold at the very least, so really committing to field fighting these players. Archers should easily be dealing with spears, so the scouts get more of a free attacking here. Looks like the fight Air will be winning here with men-at-arms in the mix here with the archers, firing for free at them while the scouts focus them down. Nice micromanagement attention here from Air 12, although losing numbers himself at the KD 52 to 52 between 2 players, but Air 12 significantly behind in villagers actually. But the Tigers committing heavily to food here and just a few on gold. Is happy with his current army numbers currently, since he's only with 2 on gold now, can't really produce more men at arms. This is like watching the AI play, adding all kinds of units to the mix, but it seems to be working out to some extent for Tiger here. The constant annoyance, judging from AR12's idle time here, having to commit to fresh units and not being able to sustain constant builder production from his DC. Another tower from Tiger as well, so he must be on stone by now, or just took just enough stone. Yeah, he's on stone, he has 5 on stone. Moving forward, no, staying on the stone. But has now tower 2 over Airfell's wood lines, but Airfell has found another one and is mining or chopping lumber safely out in the outskirts here where Tiger's armies haven't seen the light yet. Now on market for AR12 Tiger, floating lots and lots of food now, but doesn't have nearly wood enough to... Well, he drops the market, so actually that's the second building he needs to click up, so maybe we'll be seeing Castle Age click from Tiger soon. AR12 committing heavily into Feudal Age with the archers and builders production here, so... But now it's AR12 outmassing his opponent here with 11 to 7 military. Unless Tiger has some epic recalls here, good recalls, all the gold there. Archers getting hits on the spears, and Tiger at the same time potentially thinking about going to Castle Age soon, is not in a wood position to add more spears. So this will be hurtful with this very, very exposed farm eco here for Tiger and scouts and archers or AR12 now finally going for the... Finally seeing a window of opportunity to go for the counterattack here. So AR12 getting more and more kills here, KD rising here for AR12, 70 to 58. But there's the Castle Age click for Tiger. That could be very significant for AR12 if AR12 manages to do a lot of damage. Now he might have seen the score dropped, he knows Tiger is on the way up, or could suspect that Tiger is on the way up. Tiger preemptively adding towers on whatever woodlands and stuff he has left, but still his eco is extremely exposed. There are 5 archers on the field and 5 knights, and Tiger is in almost no position to be able to add spearmen here. He's committing to a few more men at arms or bringing home the ones he had forward, but will the defensive towers be enough here? So men at arms here or there for Tiger in the AR12 space still, but AR12 maybe backs off now. Looks like I have some spam in chat. So Tiger reaching Castle Age before AR12 almost even does the clicks. Tiger will have a head start to the Castle Age, but at what cost? He's lost a little bit on the way up, doesn't have much eco to do anything at all in the Castle Age. Dropping another barracks, still has some men at arms on the field. He has 12 army total, meaning that's mostly men at arms. If you can get long swordsman, he will have a power spike he could use. He already gets the extra pierce armor, so he will handle the archers nicely anyway. But for now he pulls his army back, wants to probably mass up his army at the same area here before going forward. This third barracks unfortunately doesn't go up in time. Nice awareness from AR12 to see that this building is going up. Tiger probably going to go for another TC now if he feels he can afford it. Wants to TC the main gold, should be okay here. Long swordsman now in for Tiger with still with the Feudal Age attack, but with the extra pierce armor Malians get. But AR12 up to the next stage as well with much more healthier eco, has been chopping wood here safely to the side here, and is stocking up on archers at home to deal with any kinds of forward Tiger might bring along here. You know, adding siege, probably going for a siege longswordman push here. But meanwhile, Air 12 is also in the castle age. I wonder if he suspects or sees the siege, if he wants to add some siege of his own. For now, he's committing to stables. Knights could also be devastating here. Knights crossbows for Air 12 is has quite a few farms working for him, so he has 19 farms still, so he's got to go on food income to sustain 3 knights, but will lose 1 stable here to long swordsman forward. Crossbowman all in, 12 crossbows against 13 long swords. Still could be decent with the scouts and knights in the mix with the +2 for free. Now, since the scouts in as a meat shield while the crossbowmen are allowed to shoot here, but no ballistics and lots of pierce armor for the Malian longswords here. So it's 61 to 48 villagers for Tiger, so Tiger keeps the villager lead. He is committing to 2 TCs for the moment, but has a nice woodland down here close to a TC, so somewhat secure. Is adding mangonels to the mix here. At least one is doesn't have more wood for more than that, but a nice hit, and suddenly crossbows are out of the picture here. But then again, there are knights on the field very far. You could just focus down this mangonel pretty easily. And longswordmen kind of slow in this process. The knights go into charge actually against this group of crossbows, while the group of longswords, I mean, while the crossbows are firing from the side. Not the greatest fight for Air 12 here, but Air 12 probably knows from the man-at-arms and the longswordsman investment of Tiger that Air 12 is still in the better eco position here overall. Even with fewer villagers, he is floating more eco. Yeah, army count still pretty solid. 21 army for Tiger, adding some scorps now to the mix, and even a monastery. That's of course a nice defensive measure against knights on the field from the Magyars player. Scores pretty even between those 2 players still. And crossbows maybe not the ideal option for Air 12 here, considering that Malian longsword masses have such high pierce armor. So 70 villagers for Tiger is keeping the lead here with Air 12 now, going for the ballistics, so he wants to hit the long swordsman more efficiently. He has enough mass to actually one-shot swordsman now, or at least almost do so, but he runs into Scorp's Fire as well. Now with quite a few knights in the mix, I think he will could consider retasking some of the knights to go for Scorps, and he's doing just that. Looks like Airthrow is getting the better trades here after all this with the 104 to 74 KD here, 30 more kills. That's lots of gold spent for Tiger, who might be, I was going to say he was running low, but then again, not that much gold cost for Longswordman, so maybe it's not that bad. But you can't disregard the fact that Tiger is losing more units than he's killing. And even crossbows for Airflow doing decent against the dangerous Malian longswords, champ skulls as they call them in the Imperial Age here. Monster going up for Air12 as well. He could be aiming for the relics too, because the golds are kind of hidden away here and there. He has scouted one of them, those who has one neutral gold to go to here. Patient, massing up his army here, waits for the critical mass to happen, adds another barracks, really wants to spam those longswordmen out here. And he's up against a roughly as large size army. I guess monks could, it's for healing, but they could also convert longswordsmen and get some value that way. But lots of weak crossbows here, so a few monks on the field to help heal them up is certainly a good idea. AR12 now committing a lot to production of all kinds here, queuing villagers in 3 TCs, while Tiger is still on 2 from what I can tell here, so Tiger's eco could potentially fall behind later on here. There's the big fight going down for the 2 players here. Crossbow still firing kind of freely on the long swordsman here, so that's not a great sign for Tiger here, losing Mass's army. If Tiger loses the whole mass here, then what does he do? Is he trying for another volley, or will he actually call the GG after another forward causing huge losses here? It's 140 to 91 KD for Air12. Air12 could easily go for the raids with the Knights here now, get some stray villagers here. They're very, very exposed Eco Tiger here on this very open map. Thanks for taking moderator responsibility, Akkal-AOE. Appreciate that. I don't want to buy likes and follows. Tiger yet again. Massive Cavalry Army is producing consistently from 4 barracks now. That should make replenishing military numbers easier. Committing to a couple more monks as well. Could be for healing, could be for converting knights, could be for relics. Many reasons for getting monks out on the field now, and there will be a fight for relics as Air12 is bringing in his first one. Another monster flag. Is he transitioning into a longsword monks push here? I mean, Malins had strong monks, has to be said, and he's now queuing Fervor. Is that it? I don't know the monks text all that well. Airfell dropping a defensive castle might be suspecting some other kind of switch coming in here, so he wants to restrict the forward Tiger here. Tiger with a massive military lead here now, though. Is 42 military to 25 here against the crossbow that yet again are allowed to fire freely though, so this should be giving Airfell fight a bit of free kills, and the castle might even go up before Tiger can deny it here. Funny to see a Malian Magyar Hussar. But he goes down, unfortunately, and the castle goes up. Tiger also with the stone to get some, soon get the castle up, but seeing the castle go up, losing the army once again, Tiger calls the GG. Well played, and it's AR12 taking the bronze medal in Desert Cup. Congratulations. So now we have 3 matches remaining that haven't been played yet in Desert Cup. That's the Grand Final in the Gold League. That's been between AR12 and Yobi. And then come the Silver League Final between Jägerman and Knutan 96. And then there's the Bronze Final in the Silver League between myself and the Coast. All games, all matches played in sets of best of 5 like we just seen here. So a quick look at the stats, and then I will be logging off the stream for now. Thanks to everyone who was watching, and I hope to see you around some other time. Let's see if we can find someone to raid as well. Here we go. Against Kong, Tiger played like an aggressive dirty bitch, and against Airtail like an afraid chicken. Yeah, but then there's the thing that yeah, we all have ups and downs in the daily shape and frequency of playing, right? So maybe this was one off day for Tiger, or maybe it's just fearing Airtail, his practice partner. Anyway, thanks.